Hi and welcome to a very special episode of You've Never Seen What, the podcast where I, Michael Moran, invite a guest to pick a film from my backlog in order for us to discuss the film. However, this week I thought I'd do something a little bit different. It's Oscar season. The Oscars take place this Sunday, March 15. So I thought I'd invite Brian Wishart from the Moviepod to come in and discuss some of the nominees with me and see what we think about this year's film releases. So for once, we're not talking about films from the 80s and 90s. We're actually talking about modern films, which are films that I tend to have seen, unlike some of the classic films that I generally talk about on this show that are big blind spots in my film watching history. Brian, as I already said, is the host of the Moviepod, which is a reclaimed cinema podcast where he takes a reevaluated look at some of the more maligned film releases of film history. However, most importantly for me, he is a vociferous defender of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. So he's a good person.
Great movie.
Yeah, he's a good person in my book. Brian, thanks so much for agreeing to this kind of impromptu chat about the Oscars.
Oh, thank you for having me
very
on.
Professional, very not at all stumbling over my words intro so far, as you can already tell. So, Brian, just so the listeners know, Brian is a avid film goer. I first came across Brian's podcast through the Culture Dumpster podcast, where he was being interviewed by Johnny Amizich to talk about TIFF. That's the Toronto International Film Festival. And I was kind of shocked by Brian's dedication, let's say, to watching as many films as possible in the period that film festival was on. I do not know how you manage it, Brian.
It was 43 in 11 days. It wasn't that bad. I could have done more.
I mean, I haven't watched 43 films yet so far this year, so to do it in 11 days is a bit crazy.
You just get into the mode of it, like all the excitement, like you're talking to other people about movies at the film festival, like what you've seen, what you haven't seen. You're kind of getting an idea of like what is going to be a big hit, what's going to be a big hit, what's going to fizzle out, and it's a lot of fun. You just get into the rhythm of it, and like I'm the kind of person that can watch a lot of movies in a row and like be able to separate them in my mind. I know some people who can like only watch like 2 a day because they start blending the movies together, but like I don't know, if I watch Hamnet and F1 in the same day, they're not going to blend together for me.
Hamnet and F1 in the same day would be a bit much, I think, to me.
Yeah.
Just from an emotional standpoint, the tonal whiplash of going from one to the other, I think it might be a bit of a struggle.
I do think I did see at TIFF, I saw Hamnet, Sentimental Value, and Frankenstein all in the same day.
Oh, Jesus. Well, just the combination of Hamnet and Sentimental Value together, I think would have worn me out. I haven't actually seen Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein yet.
It's good. Which fine, yeah.
Which we'll get to as we go through the nominees in each category. Yeah. Every year I say to myself, you're going to watch all 10 nominees, or previously 5 nominees, which is a lot more manageable before the Oscars. But a few things always happen. One, it becomes difficult to watch some of these just from a pure accessibility standpoint. I live in the UK. I don't have big film festivals to go to. Well, there are film festivals here, obviously, but it's a bit of a stretch to be able to go down to London and to be able to get access to some of these things. And as well as that, I think this is the case in the States and in Canada as well. A lot of the big name award nominees don't actually get a wide theatrical release until quite close to the Oscars in some cases. I think this year it's been a bit more spread out, so you could have watched most of the nominees already. And I have actually noticed it has been a little bit easier this year for myself because a new cinema has opened in my home city, which is Preston in the UK, which has had more like a wider variety of films being shown. Often I'll see a film that's coming out and I'll think, oh yeah, I want to watch that, and then nearest cinema that's actually showing it is 50-60 miles away, and it's like becomes more of an outing to actually be able to see it. You can't just casually go on a weekend. One of the films recently, which I've already talked about on the podcast, that I was kind of very surprised did get a theatrical release in my home city was No Other Choice, which shocked me that it was being shown in my city. And as well as that, the fact that the screening was full, of people, which
Right.
kind of warmed my heart a little bit. It's a foreign language film. It has subtitles,
Uh-huh.
so that was brilliant to see. Although one of the more prominent snubs, I'd say, at this year's Oscars.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was like, I think it's my number 2 movie of the year, no other choice. And yeah, it was shocking that it didn't get, well, a little bit shocking. At the same time, there's some behind the scenes drama with that movie where uh Park Chan Wook and the writer Don McKellar, they were fined by the Writers Guild of America because of their TV show The Sympathizer. They did some changes in the when they were editing the show. They changed some narrative structure for the show, which counts as writing. So they were technically breaking the strike um,
Oh,
by doing that. So there was some animosity towards them. I'm not sure it was enough for them to really be snubbed. This has been a truly a great year for foreign language film at the Oscars. So I can see that that being kind of knocked out a little bit, just because it's been a very, very crowded year. And as the Oscars have gone more international, they expand their voting body in an attempt to make them more diverse. And South Korea does not really seem to other than Parasite. South Korea does not seem to be as big of a country for the international features category compared to like Japan, Italy, France, those kind of countries. Brazil is the
yeah,
real
which
up and
is
comer now.
oh yeah, well yeah, it's 2 years in a row really. We've had big
Hmm.
nominees from Brazil, in the best picture category even.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because it's striking to me how big of an impact South Korea is having on culture in general.
Hmm.
Over the last 10, 15 years, of course, it's been snowballing, but to the point where, we have, I don't know if you've seen this viral thing on TikTok recently, it's probably very local, but like we have Northern Irish mothers complaining that about K-pop concerts in Belfast because they misconstrue what K-pop means. They think it's just related to K-pop Demon Hunters and
Oh
not its
yeah, I
own
saw the
genre.
articles about that. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
funny.
But the fact that in Belfast of all places there is like a K-pop concert, it's kind
Hmm.
of amazing. And like, we have a very prominent, very popular chain of bakeries called Greggs here in the UK, which is like, it sounds weird to say it's a prominent chain of bakeries, but it's almost like a McDonald's level where every high street will have a Greggs and people will go and buy sausage rolls. It's like a bit of a meme almost to people visiting the country, and they have Korean flavored things on their menu. And when that happened, I was like, okay, Korea's really taken over in terms of influence in culture, music, film, um food. It's kind of surprising how much it's probably hitting above its weight class really in terms of influence over here anyway.
And also, like with the Oscars this year, like despite Korea not having its own nominee in this year, like Park Chan Wook and other shows got completely snubbed. Like K-pop Demon Hunters is gonna win animated feature. It's gonna win best song with Golden, and that's some Korean influence right there at the Oscars. Even though it is like not a Korean movie per se.
Yeah, it's got a lot of Korean talent behind it, even if it is a Sony Pictures Animation
Hmm.
joint. uh okay, just before we go into the nominees, I just wanted to ask, because I always ask this of every guest in the usual structure, has there been anything interesting that you've watched recently? This is a bit of a loaded question for you, I know, Brian, because you watch so much.
Yeah. So I
Brian's letterbox, by the way, everyone, is just like, I'm jealous by the amount of things he watches. Yeah.
Yeah, I like if I have a night that I'm free and I'm not doing anything, I always leave the house to watch a movie. I have watched every single Oscar nominee in every single category. Uh
Baffling how you managed to do that.
yeah,
Even,
it's
even in all the technical categories.
oh yeah, everything. Yep.
My God.
One that I saw was kind of interesting was Kokuho, which is the it's up for makeup at the Oscars. Japan's submission for foreign film at the Oscars. It is the highest grossing live action film in Japanese history. It's about two kabuki actors. They're both male, but in kabuki theater, they don't have women are not allowed in it, so it's just men playing women. It's basically like a bit of
Yeah.
like almost like a rivalry between two guys throughout decades. It's a bit long, but I found like the makeup's incredible. I hope that one wins. I don't think it will, but I hope it should win. That was a really cool one. That like one of the reasons I like doing it's often called the Oscar death race online, when you go through every single nominee. There's various communities. There's like a subreddit. There's a Discord. So doing the Oscar death race is watching every single nominee, and the fun thing about that is you sometimes get this movie like Kokuho, which like if it was up for foreign language film, I would have watched it, but like it wasn't really on my radar. So that was a pretty big one. That was a really interesting one I recently saw. And one of the best movies I saw it for this movie. I saw it for the third time. It premiered at TIFF. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Yes. So when I'm talking about accessibility before, that was in my mind because I am desperate to watch that. By all accounts, I think I would love it. And I'm in this weird situation now where I cannot legally even watch the show itself, which has been kind of in my radar for a while, and I haven't actually bit the bullet and watched it. It's not on anything. It used to be on our Channel 4 streaming platform here in the UK, apparently, but it's not there anymore. And I'm kind of in two minds whether to try and watch it through methods or to wait to watch the film first. I don't know. A few people have told me that the going in without knowing what to expect has almost made that film better for them. So I don't know whether I should do that or I should get more used to the world of Nirvana, the band, the show beforehand. What are your thoughts on that?
I watched the show before I watched the movie, and you don't need to have seen the show to enjoy the movie. I brought some friends with me who had never even heard of Nirvana, the band, the show, and they had the time of their lives in the movie. And I think it's truly one of the funniest movies made in years. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm really desperate to see that. I hope that does get some kind of release over here, but I'm not holding my breath. Or I hope, and normally I don't hope this, I hope it goes to video on demand quickly, just so I can, through VPNs and other ways, be able to buy it. I do have a US iTunes account to be able to rent things and buy things.
Smart. Yeah.
More quickly. And with the exchange rates, it works out okay, to be honest. So I've done that quite a lot over. I mean, that's how I watch Sentimental Value, for example. Annoyingly, though, I did that. I bought it because I thought it was like $20 to rent or $25 to buy, and I'm like, I'll just buy it. It does. That's how they get you, isn't it? Like, no one's going to not buy when it's only $5 more. Annoyingly, though, if I had just waited, by the time I got around to watching my purchase, it was on Mubi here in the UK, the streaming service. So I could have just watched it on Mubi. But
I feel like with the rental system is that for movies that are up for Oscars, I've never had to. I always just wait till like the last week for some of these rentals. They always drop down to $5 by closer to the actual ceremony itself. So like unless you're really rushing to watch a movie, if you want to save some money, you can always just wait like the week of the Oscars. I think everything right now is like $5 for a rental, which is kind of good because like. I would never pay like $20 for a rental. That's insane in my mind.
No, I wouldn't either. Yeah. I think weirdly, the one time, because I was always a bit apprehensive of renting digitally at all for some reason. I don't know why. I just said it, especially when it was a new release that was expensive. During the lockdown, a lot of films went on to rental much quicker because obviously people couldn't get out to the theater. And the first time I ever spent it, and I remember clearly it was £13.99 sterling.
Oh my God.
Was to rent, but I didn't regret it. It was Barb and Star Visit Vista Del Mar.
That movie rules. It's so good.
And I love that film. And like that was a weird one where it did eventually come out on Blu-ray over here, but it was like weirdly limited and stuff. And like I think I ended up buying it even on Blu-ray, that film. I loved it that much. So yeah, I remember that was the first time I kind of like broke the seal, so to speak, on spending a lot of money on a rental purchase. I have noticed a few films going on sale now, like you've mentioned. Blue Moon, for example, I've not yet watched, and that's quite a lot cheaper to rent or to buy currently. And there's a few others like that. So I might do a little bit of last minute watching after this show. From my perspective, just in terms of what I've been watching, I well, so a lot of it is stuff that we will talk about within the Oscars discussion itself. One thing I did want to highlight, I've weirdly not finished it yet, and I guess it is a film. It's feature length. Louis Theroux takes on the Manosphere, a new Netflix documentary starring the documentarian Louis Theroux. Louis Theroux, I've always kind of seen in things. I've seen clips of him. He had the viral rap song that had been unearthed a few years ago that even got his own Fortnite emote, where he goes like, "My money don't jiggle jiggle" and all that. Very good. Just kind of lets people dig their own grave in his documentaries. He doesn't press them. He's not like a pressing documentarian. I've never really watched any of his work properly, though, and that's kind of probably a bad thing to admit. I do want to go back and watch some of his more prominent documentaries. I know he did one on the West Bank and settlers in the West Bank that was really well received, but obviously controversial in some spheres. This new documentary is him spending time with people from the Manosphere, so people who are kind of Andrew Tate adjacent or very kind of misogynistic, masculine men's men, so to speak. Whether or not they actually really are masculine is a different story. And 15 minutes into this documentary, which he spends at the start of it with a British guy called Harrison Sullivan. Anyway, his screen name his like online name is HS Tiki Toki. I was just depressed. I was like, these guys are making thousands and thousands of pounds on absolute nonsense content that is just disgusting. But as well as that, the thing that really annoyed or really kind of got to me was, okay, whatever, that's in a bubble, put it to one side. But as he was going around the streets with these people are coming up to him, wanting selfies, saying how inspirational they are to him.
Oh my God.
To them. And I was like, oh my God, it was just like a sinking feeling of, I don't understand the mindset of these people. You know, it's just, it was just a horrible kind of feeling that I had, where I was like really kind of worried about the future of young men. You know, I've got nephews and nieces. I know I've got my own 2-year-old daughter. I'm kind of worried that, you know, if this is what people like boys are consuming, you know, how bad is it going to get? It was really kind of, it's an interesting documentary. I don't know how, like I said before, Louis kind of lets people, dig their own grave and just kind of, you know, lets them go off. He doesn't like press them. So I don't know how like revelatory it is. It's, you know, it's just almost like the spectacle of looking at absolute subhuman scum.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you want to kind of rile yourself up and get your heart rate going in pure anger, that's definitely one to have a look at.
Yeah, it was on Netflix,
It's
right?
also, so yeah, that's on Netflix. Yeah. And generally, Louis has been, he's had a long-standing relationship with the BBC. And it's interesting that now he's with Netflix. In his own words, that kind of opens doors with more people, because a lot of these Manosphere people like Sneeko, or there was a guy called, I think, Myron Gaines, who's got like a big following for his podcast. A lot of these people would be very hesitant to actually let people in and film them and talk to them, like not on camera. There was one scene that was quite good about midway through the film where he speaks to Myron's girlfriend, and you kind of see Myron's character break a little bit, where the stuff he was saying, he kind of holds back on because he doesn't want to upset his girlfriend. And you kind of start to think, this facade of, it's almost more insidious in a way, because they're like presenting something they know is going to get views, going to make them money, but maybe there's kind of a bit more of an opportunistic side to that, as opposed to something they fundamentally believe in. And then he kind of quickly realizes that how he looks might not be that great, and is like, "Go and clean my room, get out of here," to his girlfriend. But I don't think that guy would have accepted Louis coming into his house, into his studio, if it wasn't for that Netflix name recognition alongside it. So it might open a few more doors. Obviously, the BBC is also well-known, well-respected and stuff like that, but it's not as global. But I do find it interesting that he is working with Netflix as opposed to the BBC, and I do wonder if some of the controversy over his Settlers documentary is something to do with that. But that's a bit more of a conspiracy, I guess. Okay, shall we just dive straight into discussion of each category and kind of see what we think about each one? I just want to point out as well that Brian is doing a kind of recap of the year Oscar flavored podcast, or have you already done that podcast? Yeah.
Yes, it's actually out today. Got my friend Dalton on. We call it the Moviepod Teen Choice Awards. The Teen Choice Awards are defunct, so we stole the name. It's a 21 plus event, so no kids are allowed there. But we mostly just wanted to be able to throw in like talk about the best director of the year and our favorite foreign language film, but also like throw in things like best kiss, best couple, like best scene. So it was a really fun discussion, and it's on my podcast feed today. So by the time this is out, you'll be able to tune into that. So get my favorites of the year, and my favorite movie of the year is not up for best picture. So
Your favorite movie of the year isn't up, did you say, for Best Picture?
it is not up for it.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll leave that as it. I won't press you to reveal that on here. That could be a tease. So just search for the Movie Pod on all good podcast feeds and or podcast catchers, and you'll be able to listen to that.
It's available wherever you get podcasts.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just so we can both see the same thing. Let me just share this. Okay, I've got the official Oscars website up here, and we can just have a look at the categories and see. So we'll go in the order that the Oscars are presenting it on here. And first up, we have one of the big ones, actor in a leading role. The nominees are Timothy Chalamet, for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. So, Brian, I take it you've seen all of these films to begin with.
Oh, I've seen every movie on this list. So,
oh, of course, you've already said that.
Absolutely
Apologies.
everything. Yep.
So, gut feeling. I guess who is your favorite out of this list for Best Actor?
My favorite's
who do you think will win?
My favorite's Timothy Chalamet for Marty Supreme. I think that is the best performance that Timothy Chalamet's done in his young career, and I think it's a superb performance. He really gets the proper anxiety needed for this character who's a very selfish prick, who is trying to has a very outsized ego about himself, and I think that he's able to really channel that well as an actor who, of course, has an ego himself as well. I think that he could win. I think a lot of the smart money has moved to Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, winning this category. But I think it's going to be Chalamet. I think that he's going to sneak the upset. Not really an upset, but I think the overall with all the predictions, people have been moving towards Sinners compared to other categories. But I feel like a lot of the stuff for Best Actor is kind of it's a bit late because people think that Timothy Chalamet doesn't really have a chance to win because he didn't win the BAFTA or the SAG award or actor or whatever they call it now. But they gave the BAFTA award to a British actor, which they often do. So it's not really Timothy Chalamet's fault there. And the SAG award, Timothy Chalamet won that the previous year, so they never do back-to-back awards. So I think that Timothy Chalamet is still thoroughly in the mix. This category is usually very, very bad at the Oscars. Actor leading role is like all the four acting categories. If you go back the past decade, it has the weakest performances, a lot of snubs in it. Honestly, in the past decade, I think the only truly fantastic performance that has won is probably Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea. Everything else is kind of like, it's maybe like the fourth, fifth best performance of the year, and hardly ever the best winner of the category. But all the nominees this year are just absolutely incredible. Like they are, like they're all great movies. Ethan Hawke and Blue Moon, especially, that's the one that I got a screenplay nomination, but that's one where the movie completely rides on his shoulders. It's very talky. It's really just he's on the screen I feel like 85% of the time. Like it's really his movie. He's just carrying all around. But the same thing with Timothy Chalamet. He's carrying the movie all for himself. It's undoubtedly a lead performance. And
yeah. So Timothy is who you want to win, but you were saying you don't think he's going to win this?
I think it's going to be a coin.
It's his last chance.
I think it's a coin flip. I think it's going to be a coin flip between Timothy Chalamet or Michael B. Jordan. I think it's going to be Timothy Chalamet because he won the Golden Globe, and A lot. There's been like some weird smear campaigns against Timothy Chalamet in the last little bit. That whole opera, Timothy Chalamet dunking on the opera and ballet, which is like a 2019 quote. It feels like it's some last minute desperation by some publicist to do a smear campaign. So I think there's some
Oh,
fear that
that's interesting because I had seen that and I had assumed it was a current thing that you just said. So
yeah,
it's interesting if it's an older quote that's been unearthed.
it's an older quote because Timothy Chalamet he's talked about his parents because I think his parents both worked in either opera or ballet, so like he's been asked about the stuff a lot. And basically what he's saying is like he does not want film to become an outdated thing, kind of like opera and the ballet. And a lot of people got very mad about it, but like you get people like Doja Cat who apologize for the statements about it because like, how dare you mock the ballet and mock the opera? But like, I don't know, when's the last time you've been to the ballet or the opera? Like Timothy Chalamet's right. Like, he doesn't want film to go the direction of opera where it's something very niche is propped up by the rich. Like he had a good point. It's just very out of context.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can see that. And also, I think that there has been a weird thing in award season with Chalamet where it almost feels to me like he has been still in character in a weird way,
Mm-hmm.
where, some of his quotes and stuff like that, it's almost like he's trying to do something. He's trying to generate something, around
Mm-hmm.
the time the film was coming out, as opposed to pushing for an award, of
Yeah.
course. Um,
It worked. It
and
was
the
great
whole thing with
marketing.
the Marty.
Marty Spring made a lot more money than people were expecting. It's probably because of Chalamet having all these viral clips.
Yeah, and all this stuff like the weird things with the Marty Supreme jacket and all that kind of stuff. There's been a lot of weird stuff around that film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, interesting. I think that so of these, I know you pointed out that Timothy won the Golden Globe but in the Golden Globes is always a hard, difficult marker because it splits everything into drama and musical/comedy,
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
awkwardly.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Wagner Moore won the equivalent award in drama.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, my view is it is going to be Timothy. I think he will win. I also think that of the films in this list I've seen, which is 3 of the 5, I would be happy with that. I think that I've always had a bit of a hot and cold, stop trying to make fetch happen with Timothy Chalamet, where it kind of felt like he was almost being pushed on us as an audience.
Mm-hmm.
But he was never bad for me. I always thought he was good. I was just a bit like, oh, it's this guy again. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is the film where I really think he was, deserving of his of the plaudits people have given to him.
Mm-hmm.
June's great, but it's kind of like a bit of a plain character, Paul Atreides.
Mm-hmm.
This is like you've said, like he is the driving force of that film in more ways than one. But the bit towards the end, and I'm fine with us going into spoilers in this, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
where he kind of breaks and his emotion comes through a bit more. I was like, oh, right, okay, that kind of surprisingly got me. It kind of elicited an emotional response that I didn't expect from the rest of that film, other than anxiety, as you often see with Benny and Josh Safdie films.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with that being, for me, it's probably my favorite performance of the year. But I do think he's got it this time. I think it is his year.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't see it being Michael B. Jordan. I don't know why. I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I am curious about is, when does the voting actually happen? Like, how long has it already been sealed and done away, or is it? I don't have a concept of how close it is to the Oscars.
Voting's finished at this point. I think the voting period, I forget the exact length of it, but it's like, a month. It's like 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks kind of thing. So it has closed, and you can kind of track some award season narratives. So people like sometimes it's not going to make a difference on like something like Amelia Perez last year, where there was a lot of controversy right near the end of the actress Carla Sofia Gascon. A lot of old tweets pop of hers that were very very racist. I learned a lot of racial slurs from her. But like, people thought like is going to tank Amelia Perez's chances of the Oscars. Well, like honestly, Amelia Perez's chance of the Oscars kind of tanked a lot earlier on, just because I'm So Here kind of shocked everyone, blew everyone away who watched it. So like Amelia Perez won the awards I was expected to win, and like, but it had nothing to do with her tweets coming out, because I think voting had already closed at that point, and she was never a
Yeah,
front runner anyway. Like,
I'm just wondering how. there's definitely a crossover between voting groups for multiple awards, I think. Um, but also, we've had a strange, very strange award season, particularly with the BAFTAs.
Mhm,
Um, you mentioned that Robert Aramayo won for I Swear
mhm.
in the BAFTAs as a British actor, which, he's not nominated here. He's not wasn't nominated in Golden Globes, I don't believe either.
I don't think it's in
Very good.
North America.
Very well. It's on Netflix even in the UK now. So
Mhm,
yeah, it's from all accounts. I've not actually seen it. From all accounts, it's a very good film, very good performance.
mhm,
And then obviously something probably not worth litigating on here, especially as
mhm,
two white guys. But the controversy,
mhm,
the controversy that surrounded the Tourette's tics during that performance,
mhm,
particularly with Michael B. Jordan
mhm,
and Delroy Lindo on stage, has been a kind of a massive storm in the midst of award season for
mhm,
valid reasons. Lots of discussion that we won't get into here, but I do wonder how that kind of controversy, how that kind of perception of what people's reactions are, what the kind of underlying tone of an award season. I wonder how that does impact voters, or if it does. I'd like to
mhm.
assume it doesn't, but like anything political or voting in nature, there's going to
Yeah.
be some of that.
I think with Sinners, though, just in general, like the fact that it was up for 16 nominations, which broke the record, I think that a lot of people had already seen Sinners by the time voting even started up. So I think they already had their mind set on the performances before voting happened. You always get these awful anonymous voter ballots, which are just like, they find the person who's the most incendiary, the person who's like clearly idiotic. Or they just flat out make these people up, and just like they seem like people who are just like voting for the wrong reasons for just to make a statement about something. But I don't know. I don't think that Michael B. Jordan wins it all, which is a very very good. He has a very good chance of doing it. I don't think it's going to be due to any controversy. I think it's going to be because it's a great performance. People just love because like the people love Sinners. They nominate for 16 awards, which is nuts. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I really, really liked Sinners.
great movie.
But I didn't, and I thought Michael B. Jordan was great, as I always think he's great in pretty much
Hmm.
everything I've seen him in. But I don't think it kind of leapt out to me as a best. Like, I didn't come out of that film and think, oh, he's going to get best actor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe that's because of the type of film, and I'm probably going into it into a thing of like this is a more of a mass market action film as
Hmm.
opposed to an Oscar film, which is probably, I know that's the crazy way of looking at it, but I do think that's in your mind sometimes as a viewer where,
Hmm.
you know, I
Yeah.
think it's the same with comedies as well sometimes. Like it's very surprising when a comedy performance, for example, like Melissa McCarthy for Bridesmaids when she
Hmm.
was nominated for Best Supporting Actress,
Hmm.
and you think, well, that was an amazing performance. And comedy is its own thing, but you kind of almost in my head, I was like, whoa, like she's up against people in more serious
Hmm.
drama based roles for that
And you
gone.
people in those kind of comedy nominations that pop up here and there, they rarely get the win.
Oh yeah.
Like off the top of my head is like Kevin Kline in a fish called Wanda, but like other than that, I can't really think of any major flat out just like sole nomination for a comedy that actually went the whole way.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're both in agreement there. Actor in a supporting role is next. Nominees are Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. What are your initial thoughts about this category, Ryan?
Uh, I think it's gonna be a very unpredictable category. I think it can go a lot of directions, but I think it's gonna be a battle between Sean Penn and Stellan Skarsgård. Stellan Skarsgård won a Golden Globe. He also that's the kind of performance that like you can see them saying like the people like Stellan Skarsgård's due for an award because he's been in so many movies that people have liked. People love those Dune movies. He's been a great presence when every time anyone sees him, everyone likes working with him. So I can see people going that direction too. I think Stellan Skarsgård is my favorite supporting performance of the year, so I would love for that to happen. Um, Sean Penn is phenomenal in One About Another, and like that's one that's such a flashy, showy performance that I can easily see. Like that was one when I came with the movie, like that was going to win the Oscar for sure. But I think what's working with Sean Penn is that he's already won twice, so they might be hesitant to give him another award. But at the same time, though, even if Sean Penn doesn't win, he should be allowed to go up there and make a speech because Sean Penn, he has actor brain like crazy. He has. I would love to see whatever the hell speech he's going to do for one ballot or another because he's he's kind of like his politics are kind of like the way he describes things are a bit incoherent at points, and I would love for him to go up there and talk about the politics of one ballot or another. It'd be fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, from I have seen all of these apart from Frankenstein, as I already mentioned. I've not seen Frankenstein yet.
Mhm,
I think that in the battle of one battle after another, it would be Sean Penn for me, definitely over
mhm,
Benicio del Toro. I love Benicio del Toro in the film. Don't get me wrong,
mhm,
but yeah, Sean Penn literally chewed his way through that performance, but in a believable and really interesting way.
mhm.
He basically, to me, metamorphized into Vince McMahon. I
Oh yeah,
think,
the way he walks at points and the way he like it looks that's Vince McMahon walking into the ring. Like it's like
yeah. Um, a controversial figure, though, as I don't know how much that would ever. I don't want to get into the. I think I probably spoke too much about the mindset or the cultural political leanings of voters for the first category. I
mhm.
more want to focus on just the quality of the performance, but I do wonder if that has any impact.
But like also like the voter base, like their political mindset is like so like wishy-washy. Like we're talking about a voter base that gave the Oscar to Moonlight and then 2 years later gave it to Green Book. Like in those movies trying to tackle like what it is to be black in America. And sometimes they just people's politics are often very, very incoherent and inconsistent. And as we get a voter base as large as the Academy, and as it keeps on growing too, where they keep on inviting more international members. Uh I think I was listening to Critical Darlings, that podcast and I think Richard Lawson was saying one thing is with expanding the Academy internationally is like you are getting a lot more diverse voices voting in the Academy, but would someone in Brazil be really that interested in stories about like being black in America? And they might absolutely, but like that could be why Nickel Boys got kind of shut out last year. Is that maybe you're diversifying the academy, but you're not diversifying the academy in a way that might favor like American releases and American stories.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that.
Mm.
Sean Penn is the odds-on favorite for this category currently,
Mm-hmm.
with bookmakers. But I know that's an aside. Sorry,
Yeah.
what were you going to say about Jacob Elordi?
Yeah. Jacob Elordi is when it becomes very loose spoilers on Frankenstein, but like basically it's structured in two parts. Where the first part is focus on Oscar Isaac as Dr. Frankenstein. The second part's focus on Jacob Elordi as the creature. When the movie shifts to Jacob Elordi's perspective, that's when the movie comes alive and becomes actually really interesting to watch. So I think it's a great physical performance. It's a great nomination. I think all five of these are great nominations. Delroy Lindo, he's an actor that like I don't think he's the one that really pops off a lot in Sinners, but even him just being nominated alone is a huge win.
Yeah, yeah. Um, for me, I think that of what I've seen, I would probably pick Sean Penn.
Mm-hmm,
Even over Stellan Skarsgård, absolutely loved Sentimental Value.
mm-hmm,
Um, but it wasn't for his performance. It was for the as we get into lead actress and supporting actress, it was those performances.
mm-hmm.
Not that his was bad by any means. Obviously, I like you said these are all really valid nominations in my eye. Um, so I think for me the pick would be Sean Penn, and I do think he's probably got it. But you can never tell.
Mm-hmm. It's just kind of fun because I like it when the awards ceremony is a bit more open up and unpredictable because like I tend to do well at Oscar ballots because like I'll get like three wrong in a year, three or four wrong in a categories that usually technical stuff, but like I like not knowing like, and I think that makes a lot more interesting speeches. Which like my favorite part of the Oscars is always speeches, and I like when people don't have a prepared speech because they knew they were going to win. I like when they're kind of a bit surprised, like I like when anything can happen at the Oscars.
And that's one of the reasons, actually, to back to the BAFTAs for a second. When Robert Aramayo won, he was so shocked to win Best Actor against all these like very big names. There was the wonderful moment where he, spoke about Ethan Hawke coming to speak to him in drama school, to his class in drama school, and you see Ethan Hawke turn to whoever was beside him and say, "That's better than winning." Like,
Yeah.
you could tell it like made a lot of, it touched him, which I thought was brilliant. And yeah, just like when it is a bit of a surprise, it is always really good. But in terms of knowing who's going to win, or presuming we know who's going to win, I think that the most clear-cut category by far is probably the next one, actress in a leading role.
Oh,
We have got
absolutely.
nominees: Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, Renate, I don't know how to pronounce her name, these
Renate
Norwegian
Reigns, I think.
names. What was that, sorry?
Renate Reigns, I believe.
Renate Reigns. You can read Inga's name in supporting actress as well then. And Emma Stone for Begonia. This is Jessie Buckley's to lose, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like, if Jessie Buckley was not in the picture this year, I think Rose Byrne would have it. But no, like Hamnet, I think it's a great movie. And that movie relies solely on her performance to work. She has to go from being someone who's a bit more wild against being a relationship, to a courtship, to learning to become a mother, then losing, and then like dealing with the whole grief cycle. It's like a whole like range of performance, range of emotion she's doing. The character is believable, it feels authentic, and she's an actress that is great in everything that she's in for the most part. Now, Fargo season 4, except for that, she's terrible in that show. But everyone's terrible in that show, that season of Fargo. But yeah, she's an actress that people like a lot, and it's a performance that is just undeniable.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I've seen all but Song Sung Blue.
That movie is people knock that's for being nominated, but Kate Hudson is really good in that movie. Like it's kind of a mediocre movie, but she kind of elevates it to feeling like something real. Like she worked with like a proper accent coach to get the accent right. No, sorry, her nanny had the accent that she has to have, like a Wisconsin accent, so she based it on her nanny. So
right.
So like, yeah, it's actually a pretty good performance in a not so great movie. So like, I don't knock that nomination too much. There are better ones that, like Amanda Seyfried and Testament of Anne Lee. She got snubbed. She definitely got snubbed. You can easily boot. Kate Hudson's the probably the weakest of the 5 for sure, but it's not a bad performance.
Yeah. I think that Jessie Buckley's definitely going to win this. I think it's deserving. But now that I've seen Sentimental Value, I do kind of wish that Renate Reigns had more of a chance, because I almost kind of link those performances in my head in a weird way, where one of them is very understated, kind of depiction of, I guess, depression, poor mental health. The other one is the more visceral, raw power of grief. And it's two very different, it's like two sides of the same coin to me. And as much, and I love them both. I love them both probably equally, but I kind of want more people to see Sentimental Value and kind of see that because that really, the last scene of that film kind of really kind of like I said with Timothée Chalamet before, it kind of elicited a response from me that I didn't expect. Whereas obviously Jessie Buckley's performance is incredibly powerful. In a way that doesn't become comedic as well. I think that I've sometimes seen like memes on TikTok or Instagram or things of like, oh, all the best actor performances in history are always just men screaming. And it can fall into that trap of, shouting and being angry or being emotional is like a cheat code to a good performance, because you can kind of, feel something from that because it is so powerful. And Jessie Buckley, I think, toes that line perfectly, where it's not just someone screaming. It is like you actually feel the hurt and power behind it. There's the one bit in that film as well where she kind of attacks Paul Mescal within the scene, and apparently that was like not. She wasn't meant to do that. It was like she was just so in the moment, and that came across to me as one of the most authentic bits of the film. It felt like something would happen. Rose Byrne in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You was also absolutely amazing. I don't know how I feel about that film as a whole, though. I think that it wasn't. I just kind of don't know what I was supposed to come away from that film with, which is no bad thing. Like, a film doesn't have to have a message or have something that it leaves you with. I just kind of don't know how I felt about it. What did you think of that one?
I loved it. It was like one of my favorite things I saw out of TIFF. Like I almost like felt like I was watching like like a more feminine take on Uncut Gems, which I think was like a really interesting way to do a movie about motherhood. I like one of the coolest details of the movie is that you never see the daughter. Like you just see this unfaced thing, just kind of like yelling and screaming, and a mother being frustrated, being like pushed right to the edge. And I think that it's just what does we mean? It's just like, women struggle a lot. And I think that Rose Byrne wears it so well in her face. She's always been an actress. I love Rose Byrne. I have a huge crush on her. And I think she's able to just have this entire acting showcase that really shows like, no, she is a fantastic actress. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was anxiety inducing. I came out of that movie just like levitating, like, oh, this is a wild ride.
Yeah. No, I mean, I enjoyed it, but I feel like I enjoyed it because of her performance. Whereas the rest of the film, I don't know. I feel like the stress that I was feeling watching it didn't. I don't know. It didn't resonate with me as much as it had. When we were talking about Safdie brothers movies before, like a lot of people have compared this to Uncut Gems. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm like a bit hot and cold on the film as a whole, but her performance I thought was brilliant. Emma Stone for Begonia is something that not many people have talked about, and Emma Stone, that performance actually I think is maybe, well, I mean, it's nominated for an Oscar, so this is probably a weird thing to say, but maybe a little bit underappreciated because I think it feathers the line of, you as an audience member, unless you had, seen the film that this was based on, not really knowing if she's telling the truth or not, or if she's just being a very shrewd businesswoman throughout the film. And then as I was watching it, I was kind of like, just thought, Emma Stone is really very good, isn't she? Like,
she's one of the best working actresses by far. Like, she's incredible.
Yeah, I absolutely love that film as well. I love that for 90% of it as well. It was a more approachable Yorgos Lanthimos film for a lot of people, and then just pulls the rug from anyone that was enjoying it at the end. Although annoyingly, I see some takes about that film online that I'm like, oh, you don't get it, man.
I might be one of those people making those takes because I thought the movie was a lot more interesting until the reveal. I thought just what I thought the movie was trying to say something really interesting about misinformation and how people fall down rabbit holes. And it's a movie I want to rewatch, knowing how it ends. Knowing the true nature of Emma Stone's performance, I do want to really rewatch it. I think it's Jesse Plemons' movie overall, though. I think Emma Stone is like really secondary to him. So I think that's one of the reasons why. Like, I think Jesse Plemons' a bit of a snub this year, and I think Emma Stone, like, I think that it's probably my least favorite of Yorgos Lanthimos and Emma Stone's collaborations. I think that even Kinds of Kindness, she gave 3 more interesting performances in my mind. But like, I'm not going to knock Emma Stone for being nominated for a movie as weird as Begonia. That's a really cool thing that Begonia is up for awards. Like, that's nuts. Like, it's crazy that the director did Dogtooth is an Oscar critical darling. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean about like what in terms of what the movie's trying to say. I kind of didn't care because I actually thought it's almost weird. So again, as everyone should know, we're going to discuss spoilers, but it's almost weird that the red-pilled Reddit rabbit hole idiot was right the whole time in the film. Like, it's kind of a weird if you start to view a film's politics or what it might be trying to say. It is such an odd thing. Have you seen the original film that it's based on?
I
Save
have
the Green
not.
Planet?
No, it's Japanese, right?
I'd be interested to see how that goes. Again, another South Korean film. When we're
South
talking about
Korean
the cultural impact.
Yeah.
Okay, actress in a supporting role then. I think we're just on actress in the leading role. I think we're both in agreement that Jesse's got it
Yeah,
and
that's
deserves it.
mhm.
Yeah. Actress in a supporting role, we have Elle Fanning for sentimental value, Inga Ibsdotter Lilius. Apologies if I've not
I
pronounced
think you
that
got it
correctly.
right.
For sentimental value, Amy Madigan for Weapons, Wunmi Musaku for Sinners, and Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. Starting with you again, Brian. What are your thoughts here?
So it sounds like the dials move towards Amy Madigan winning. Um, I think it's going to be Tiana Taylor that wins it. Uh, I think that One Bout to Another is that she's been like the favorite for so long, um, and she makes such a strong impression during her part of the movie, and comes back just a little bit at the end of the voiceover that I think really helps out really sell that performance. I don't like Amy Madigan in Weapons. I think the Aunt Gladys character is I think when the movie becomes Aunt Gladys's movie, it becomes a much less interesting movie. So I was
Fair enough.
never impressed by that performance. So I'm kind of actually shocked at the all the accolades it's getting. But my favorite of the five is Elle Fanning and Sentimental Value. Like I think that's a really interesting performance of someone who's like an outsider coming in. Also, you truly believe that she like this is a sensitive film star that's coming in like trying to be with one of her work with the filmmaker she absolutely admires, and then just trying to come to terms with like I'm not the right fit for this dream project of mine, this dream role. And I think that she really adds a lot to the movie. Uh, and like you can see a version of Sentimental Value where it has like a Swedish actor coming in or a Norwegian actor coming in to like, play the role of this daughter in the screenplay. But I like that they got her to play the role. And I think Elle Fanning's been, uh, since Neon Demon, that's what the first time I saw her really like pop, like, oh, this is a great actress. So that was my favorite of the five. But I think that Tiana Taylor's going to win the whole thing. I think what also does not help Amy Madigan is that the Oscars rarely give awards to straight up horror movies. Uh, like that's just not a thing that ever really happens. They never give the acting awards for them. And like Sinners is a little bit different because Sinners is like I don't think that I don't think the Oscars view Sinners as a horror movie in the way that they view Weapons as a horror movie.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because I think Sinners is a more interesting film when it isn't a horror. The kind of
100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
or an action horror. Like the first half of that film, I was in love with it, and I still like it as a
Mm-hmm.
whole. But there was something about that kind of the world building, the characters, and everything like that in that period
Mm-hmm.
setting that just really spoke to me. And then when it kind of goes the way it does, which we knew it was going to, it's not like a surprise, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it just felt a little bit less interesting, a little bit more by the numbers towards the end.
Mm-hmm. And I think by
From
the time Sinners ends, like when it comes like the reveal that like they were going to be killed off anyway by these racist white guys, and then the mid credit scene, like the way that plays out, like I think it still remains an incredibly interesting movie. But what it's doing thematically before the vampire stuff is so interesting, and like it's the vampire stuff is thrilling. But yeah, it becomes a less interesting movie. But like I think as a whole package, it's incredible. It's a great movie. I actually just ordered the 4K of it last night, so that should be arriving next couple of weeks. I'm stoked to watch it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved all the kind of uh, blending together of like Irish mythology, Irish characters with Black American characters as well, and the crossovers there. Obviously, the scene that happens where music kind of coalesces across time and
Oh yeah.
space. A lot of people I've seen criticize that scene, and I'm like, that is one of the best scenes I've seen in any film in a long
I was
time.
levitating off
Uh,
my seat in the theater. It was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like that's pure movie magic. This is why I go to the cinema.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And the people who didn't like that, I kind of think, well, what do you want? Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? Um,
mm,
but, Weapon, like you said, like maybe they don't view it as a horror in the same way they do Weapons. I also think Weapons is kind of a bit of definitely crosses genres. And again, is probably more interesting when it doesn't put the throttle down on the horror elements.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'm surprised that she was nominated and is likely to be the favorite to get the award.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't think it was a bad performance, but and it's funny, we were talking before about comedy. Like, there is almost like a kind of dark comedy to her performance as
Mhm.
well.
Which is, I think,
Um,
what people really gravitate towards is that is a very dour movie until she shows up, and then she has some sort of wicked comedic chops to kind of change the tone of the movie. I think it changed the tone of the movie into a direction that I don't like. But yeah, it's just it was an interesting nomination, and you know, I don't know, I see Teyana Taylor winning. I see that being in. I can imagine her holding up the Oscar more than I can imagine Amy Madigan holding up the Oscar on Sunday night.
yeah, no, and I'd be fine with that. I thought that I don't think I had seen Tiana Taylor in a film before, to be honest.
Hmm.
Maybe I had, but just not as a prominent a role. And I thought she is a force of nature in the opening half hour of that film,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh wow, I'm in for this ride. My only thing is that is kind of she isn't in that much of the film. I know
Hmm.
her lasting effects of her character are obviously throughout the film.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I kind of feel like it's again very film of two halves, isn't it? In that way.
Hmm.
But I'd be happy for her to win. I can see her winning. I think this is quite an open category, though, to be honest.
Absolutely, yes. Of all the four, it's probably the most wide open. Yeah, it'll be like, I don't know. It's exciting that like last year, it was like pretty like set in stone. That's going to be Kieran Culkin and Zoe Saldana are going to be the winner. So like everyone knew that those awards are going to go to. But like, I like that. I have no idea what's going to happen Sunday night. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait as well. I when I was speaking to you about planning this, I'd forgotten it was on this
Yeah.
weekend. So I was a bit like, um, actually, I remember being a bit surprised that Zoe Saldana won last year. Maybe I just wasn't following the award season as closely as I have
Hmm.
been this season. Uh, but then I'm just looking at the other nominees from last year, and yeah, I can see it. Um, Actually, it's funny you said when you said Zoe Saldana. When did she start putting the accent above the N and really getting that more authentic pronunciation? She's brilliant, because I know Thandie Newton is another example of
Hmm.
an actress who, as she's become more prominent, more famous, she's kind of tried to make sure people are. She's not anglicizing her name.
Hmm.
Um, that kind of seemed to happen out of nowhere, and
I
everyone knew
think it
about it.
happened during the press cycle for Amelia Perez. Like, it's been
Right.
recent. Like, I don't think she was doing that for Avatar: Way of Water a couple years ago. So like, it's a recent phenomenon.
That film, by the way, was bizarre film in my eyes.
Oh
I'd
yeah.
like to pick your brains about that, because,
Never seen
like,
anything like it. I like it more than most because it's so audacious, but like every time someone goes like, it's offensive towards Mexicans, it's offensive towards trans people, I'm like, yeah, you're right. It 100% is. Like but
it's
it
funny that there's a film that has a trans lead actress that he still manages to be offensive towards
yeah.
trans people.
And the fact that one thing about Amelia Perez that no one really harps on, which I think is the most weird thing about the movie, is that the last third is a Mrs. Doubtfire riff. Like
Yes.
she's like pretending to be the nanny for the kids and stuff, and because she wants like take them back eventually. Like that's just the plot of Mrs. Doubtfire. But no, I don't think anyone watched that scene beyond the penis to vagina song. So like, but like the fact
Yeah.
that like the big plot of the movie is a Mrs. Doubtfire thing. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, be absolutely bizarre, but also like, I tell you one thing, I really like the opening number of
Yeah.
that film,
Hmm.
and the opening of it. I remember that being quite good, and I was like, oh, everyone's being real jokey, critical of this. I don't get it. And as it went on, I was like, oh, right,
Hmm.
okay. Um, Particularly Selena Gomez's character, some of the stuff she comes out with, I'm like, fucking hell. But some of the big ones are out of the way. Animated feature film, we have got Arco, Elio, K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie, or the character of Rain,
Hmm.
and Zootopia 2. I have seen none of these. Animation, I have completely fallen off the last few years, and I don't know when that happened or why,
Hmm.
particularly as I have a 2-year-old. You'd think
Hmm.
I'd be watching more animated films, but none of these have snuck into my watch list somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters is winning this, no question about it. This is a bad year for animated films in general. And this category is pretty bad too. Like Elio's mediocre, Zootopia 2 I thought was bad. Arco is just a Castle in the Sky ripoff with some of the so like with Arco, because Natalie Portman's a producer, they're really emphasizing that. So they are pretty much exclusively releasing it in the English voice dub. And the English voice dub is really bad. So Arco
Right.
was one I just, and also I hate how all the characters look. It's really bad character design. Um,
Is it a French film?
French, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters. It's a for a movie called K-pop Demon Hunters with a premise like that. I felt it was too safe and generic. Surprisingly, good music, but like that movie just did nothing for me. Little Amelie, or the character of Rain, is a great movie. I love that movie a lot. Uh, that one's from Belgium, I think. Yeah, that's one that has like a really charming animation style. It's like a really pretty mature story. That one I would love. It's not going to win, of course. K-pop Demon Hunters like that is like I think K-pop Demon Hunters is more likely chance to win than Jesse Buckley has to win. Like
Um, yeah, none of these leap out at me. I think just from a pure cultural stamping on, like, how big it's been. In the UK, Golden was number one in the charts. I don't know
mhm,
about in Canada. It was number one in the singles chart for a considerable time this year.
mhm,
Um, so you kind of, through osmosis, you understood like some of the impacts of this. Strictly, I remember as well, like Strictly Come Dancing, which is the the mother of stuff like Dancing with the Stars. It's where all they come from. Is a British show called Strictly Come Dancing,
mhm,
that's licensed out to become Dancing with the Stars in America and Ireland and Australia and other places. I remember one of the contestants this year dancing to Soda Pop, dressed up in character as the character from the film, and I was like, yeah, when it's on Strictly Come Dancing, it's kind of
mhm,
it's achieved a certain level, because there's going to be like Facebook mums or like old age pensioners watching this,
mhm.
understanding what K-pop is for the first time. I've kind of like half watched this. That's the one film where I've kind of like half watched it because it was on in the background at some point. And the one thing I was surprised by was, and other films have done this, like Frozen and stuff, but the kind of, oh, I'm demon. Do I need to like learn to accept the part of me? Blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Which I didn't know just from the name of the film that it was going to get into that kind of territory. So there seems to be a bit more substance to it than I initially thought there would be, at least.
Yeah, it's like trying to be a nice message to like young girls and stuff, to like be who you are and such, like but like still like be true to your friends. So like it's accessible to children, which is good. Like
Zootopia 2, again, absolutely shocked at how big of a film that was. When we
yeah.
look at box office takings for films these days, there is almost like this asterisk of this is post COVID and things aren't the same anymore.
Mhm.
But this film has blown up, which surprised me massively because I didn't remember the first one being such a big hit.
Yeah, and I think that just like enough like I think like this one got released in China as well, so like that one really helped the box office there. Um, there's also just been like not very many kids movies at all this year, really. Like so like when one comes out that like parents would actually want to see, because like Zootopia 1 is like 2016, so like maybe some of those parents grew up watching or seeing that movie as like a teenager, so like
That's a depressing thought.
yeah.
Also, a note for any of our UK listeners: Zootopia is Zootropolis in the UK. Why they made that change, I have no idea.
I think in China it's called Wild Animal City.
That's a better name. We should just
Way
call
better
it
name,
that.
yeah. Yeah, Zootopia
Yeah,
2, it's just like such like a mixed metaphor. Like I'm not sure what the movie's trying to say, because it's such a mixed metaphor of like what they're trying to do with like predators and prey and stuff that they've already did in the first one. Like they try to expand the world in a way that's just so like weird and not that interesting in my opinion.
Hmm. Yeah. Also, just on Elio, what has happened to Pixar, man? I feel like they can't get a hit.
Yeah, like whatever's going on there is like they just I don't know, because like they just feel like so generic now. Like I think that the fact that Disney animated features has the exact same art style as Pixar now, like you can't tell them apart. And I feel like I don't know, if they're lucky, one of the movies will be good in a year. Like, was Inside Out 2 is Pixar, and it's just like, okay, well, nothing that memorable. I think it was just also a big brain drain at Pixar. Like, all the people who were originally there have left or done other things, and like whoever they got to replace them is just nothing that special. And
Yeah.
for
Very
this,
toxic culture from all reports as well for a
oh,
long time.
absolutely, yeah. And like, it's too bad when it comes to the sake of like animated movies that like two of the nominees each year are going to be taken up by a Pixar movie and a Disney movie that have the exact same style. Is so generic. A style that's so generic that that's what AI generated stuff for cartoons and stuff just take from, because like that's just what a very accessible style. But like, I don't know, like Disney movies used to have a really cool aesthetic to them. Like what I watched? I watched Beauty and the Beast in the theater last month, like the original one from 1991, and like that movie looks so pristine. It has such a good look to it, and it looks slightly different from other Disney movies that era too. But yeah, they just all look the same. But like from a purely animation standpoint, like I don't know, Little Amelie looks great. K-pop Demon Hunters has an interesting look to it, has interesting like kind of things to do with frame rate in that movie. But like,
Yeah, that's becoming almost like a Sony Pictures standard
yeah,
thing,
like
isn't it? That
yeah, as they start doing like Puss in Boots, I think with some of the action scenes there, it's just like, or is that
obviously
DreamWorks? Yeah, it's DreamWorks. Yeah, but like
into the Spider-Verse,
Spider Verse, yeah.
big example of that.
Mm-hmm.
Animating on the twos, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the interesting thing they did in the Spider-Verse films, or in the first Spider-Verse film, is when Miles Morales starts to become more in tune with his skills, they actually start animating on the ones to make it a
Mm-hmm.
bit more smoother, which I thought was a really interesting technique.
Yeah, really coolly
They're
drawn
kind
movie.
of like secretly one of the better animation studios, or
Yeah.
maybe not so secretly, of Spider-Verse. They released a Netflix film a few years ago, and it's funny that Sony doesn't seem to trust their own films and kind of goes with Netflix a lot, which proven to be a wise decision in K-pop Demon Hunters case, and it did end up getting a limited theatrical release as well. One that a lot of people seem to miss by, you'll have definitely seen it, is Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Great movie.
Which I thought was brilliant, yeah. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know many people who have watched that, and I think it that could have like, it's a weird way of looking at it, but like there's scenes in that where I'm like, how did that scene not go viral, so to speak? The
Mm-hmm.
stuff with the Furby and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very good film.
Yeah, I think that if you don't make an immediate impact on Netflix, you get buried and people forget your movie exists. Whereas if you're on a theatrical screening, people can see that and then see it on Netflix. So you already have the two two cultural points where people have talked about this movie. And yeah, it's interesting that K-pop Demon Hunters got the theatrical release afterwards because they did the sing-along version. But like, yeah, that would have been a movie if Sony kept it. They would have made so much money.
Yeah. Sony as a studio, just kind of an interesting one where they've had such high highs, such low lows. They seem to have been, doubling down, which is proven to be probably a very shrewd business decision, but doubling down on anime recently as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, interesting to see how they go. I think it was like 2006 or something like that. They had like the majority of the top 10 biggest box office results that year. I think it was like the Da Vinci Code and like Casino Royale. There was like loads of Sony hits that year. And then I feel like they just kind of properly went off a cliff at some point, to the point where people were speculating, are they going to get rid of the film business? Are they going to sell off? Interesting.
Now they have the Madam Webs and the Morbiuses of the world. So
yeah, Jesus Christ. I love that. How do people sleep knowing that Jared Leto is out there somewhere?
yeah.
Animated short film. We can go through this one. You've seen all these, which is crazy to me.
Yeah,
But,
they're not very good.
no, it's anything stand out from here. We've got, just so audio listeners, Butterfly, Forever Green, The Girl Who Cried Pearls, Retirement Plan, and The Three Sisters.
My favorite's Retirement Plan. That's a nice, charming, and funny short about a guy who's like daydreaming about like when he retires, he'll be able to do all these cool things, and like kind of just like missing the point about living in the moment. Butterfly is going to win because it's secretly about the Holocaust, which you're not going to expect. It's going to be cool art style. It's a bit too long. Yeah, Three Sisters is very sexist. Forever Green is a weirdly Christian movie. The Girl Who Cried Pearls is Canadian. It's funny how anti-Canadian it is, how much Montreal sucks.
Is it anti-Canadian then, or anti-Quebec?
Actually, yeah, more so anti-Quebec, yeah. Basically, just like,
Right. Okay.
when I lived, this guy lives in Paris now. We lived in Montreal. It's like a complete shithole. It's like dirty and disgusting. But yeah, I think Butterfly will win. But like, don't rush out and see any of these. They're not that remarkable at all.
Okay. Casting, we've got Hamnet, casted by Nina Gold, Marty Supreme, Jennifer Vendetti, One Battle After Another, Cassandra Kulakundis, The Secret Agent, Gabriel Dominguez, and Sinners, Francine Maisler. These technical categories are difficult ones, I think, always to comment on because it is such a specific skill: casting, costume design,
also,
makeup, that kind of thing.
Casting's a completely new category, so you don't even know what the trends are going to be. It's not like,
is this completely new?
Brand new.
Because it's funny you say that. I did not realize, but then as I was looking at it, I was thinking, I don't remember any casting Oscars. So I was right to question my own mind there.
Yeah.
From a casting perspective, Marty Supreme's an interesting one because of the Safdies in general. Both of them like to use non-actors, sometimes in a very detrimental way, according to reports. Very interesting looking people in that film, I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah, like that would be a cool win. Hamnet, other than that's a movie that's like, I can see the casting nomination based on the fact that the kid that got to play Hamnet's really good. But otherwise, you get Jesse Buckley, you get Paul Mescal, you're set. So it's not really that like big of a masterstroke of casting. Secret Agent has a lot of great small parts in it. But also, like, it's like the whole Oscar stuff. I think it's going to come down to Sinners and One Battle After Another. And I think for casting, Sinners might just win it because, like, that has a lot of good small parts in it.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that movie functions on having those small parts, like, really pop off at specific moments. Like, Miles Keaton is pretty much he may as well be the lead of the movie. Finding him was a complete masterstroke because he can sing, he can act, he can do it all. One Battle After Another, like, I think is a fantastic cast movie too. But like, of course you get Leonardo DiCaprio. He's gonna be Leonardo DiCaprio. He's gonna be great. And like, yeah, I just think that Sinners is the one that really impressed me with all the smaller parts. So I think I would probably give it to Sinners. But I don't know how this category functions. Like, maybe I'll give it to Marty Supreme because like there's one specific quirk that the casting directors, people who vote on this, really, really like. But
so for stuff like this, is it only casting directors that can vote on it?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I'm just going to double check who votes in the technicals because that's going to affect the rest of the categories.
From a casting perspective, though, I think that Hamnet, obviously, Paul Mescal, who I adore, and Jesse Buckley, who I also really, really like. Two prominent Irish actors playing one of the most famous English couples, so there's that side of things. But the combination of Jacoby Jupe and also his brother Noah Jupe to play Hamlet and Hamnet, I thought was a bit of a casting masterstroke and worked really well in that film. But it is very much about the two leads. I know there are other good actors around them, of course. You've got Joe Alwyn, who I think was fine. You've got I can't remember who played her mother. Emily Watson played his mother. Sorry,
her mother. Yeah.
Yeah. So like there is good casting in there, but it is very much about those two leads, isn't it?
And I just double checked, so the entire Academy votes for all the categories, so that includes casting.
See, I thought that was the case because I recently watched Corridor Crew's VFX artists looking at the Oscar films from best visual effects perspective, and I know that they were kind of speculating what might win because even though Avatar is definitely the best from their perspective as experts in VFX, is the best by far of the year, because Way of Water came out recently, they respected with the Academy voters, not give it to Fire and Ash because they recently give it to Avatar and it's more of the same, or so I kind of thought that there might be something like that here, because like if you're not aware of the intricacies of casting, how do you vote on this?
Exactly.
Same with makeup, same with cinematography. I think we can all become armchair experts, but costume design, makeup, all this kind of stuff. It is such a specific skill set, so it's always a bit difficult to call in that respect. So speaking of cinematography, we've got Dan Loston for Frankenstein, Darius Khondji for Marty Supreme, Michael Bowman for One Battle After Another, Autumn Gerald Archipel for Sinners, and Adolfo Veloso for Train Dreams. Apologies if I've butchered any of those names. Cinematography, I've not really given a lot of thought this year.
Yeah, Frankenstein is the real sneak of this category. That's a movie that operates really well in its production design, and I think that it does not look as good as it possibly can. I think it looks pretty cheap at some points. Marty Supreme's a really good looking movie. So like doesn't have a lot of flourishes that really pop out to me in the way like One About Another does, and Sinners do, where those have specific moments like, holy crap, look at how this looks, look at how this is shot. Train Dreams is like I like how it looks, but it also is like pretty much a Terrence Malick ripoff of how of that kind of style. I think I love Train Dreams, but I think it's going to be Sinners or One Bout to Another. I'm leaning One Bout to Another, especially that the Latino Harriet Tubman scene where he's like running across the streets and stuff as like the riots are picking up. That whole part is so wonderfully shot, as well as the highways chasing at the end. Like that is just like, how the hell do you pull this off and make it look exciting and good? Like what blows me about One Bout to Another, that chasing there, is that you have people who don't really know they're being chased going down a road single file with no passing, and it's still the most tense action sequence you'll watch. And a lot of that's just how it's edited and how it looks. And so I give it to One Bout to Another, I think, of the five, and I think that it'll win too. I think again, like if Sinners wins, then maybe Sinners will win sweep a lot more the whole night. But I think One Bout to Another is gonna be the big winner of the evening. So I think little awards like this are gonna go to One Bout to Another.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I have seen multiple films on this list, and I've seen some of Train Dreams. I really wasn't in the mood. I started it the other night, but immediately the kind of the presentation, the framing, the aspect ratio, like it looked very nice. But I didn't really get my teeth sunk into it to really judge it. I think the one thing with One Battle After Another that might go in its favor as well is the fact that it is shot on film and it is shot with VistaVision, which, you know, for people, I don't know how important that is in these days. I know we have people like Christopher Nolan, such big proponents of using real film. I don't know if that's something that would resonate with Academy voters, the fact that it's real film and the fact that VistaVision's making a bit of a comeback, because last year we had The Brutalist as well, use VistaVision as well. And then just so that's more from a technical side, but just from the photography itself, I do think that One Battle After Another is really, really interesting. Some of the framing of some of the shots, the highway scene at the end is what will stick with most people, but there are just scenes. The scene of Tiana Taylor with her huge baby bump shooting an assault rifle into the air, like these are kind of almost like designed to be iconic shots. Do you know what I mean? And Sinners has that. But there are also a few bits in Sinners where I kind of was a bit like, oh, what am I looking at here? And maybe that's more of a visual effects issue as opposed to a cinematography issue. But
are some parts, and like I truly think like it's a beautiful looking movie, especially that first half. But like there are parts, especially in the vampire scenes, where it's like, oh, this is a guy who worked on some Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. There are some things like this. This is a blockbuster filmmaker, whereas PTA is a different breed of filmmaker, and I think that shows in how it looks.
Costume design, again, a difficult one, but we might as well get through these now as long as you're game for it,
I'm
Brian.
game for it.
Yeah, Avatar Fire and Ash, we've got Deborah L. Scott. Frankenstein, Kate Hawley. Hamnet, Malgosia Terzanska. Marty Supreme, Miyako Belize. And Sinners, Ruth E. Carter. Avatar stands out on this list as being a predominantly CG film. Not that doesn't mean obviously costume design. There is both real costume designs, and I'm guessing that would also mean in terms of costume design that is being rendered as well.
Yeah, so they actually,
I'm not sure how it works.
Like every like even the CGI characters, like are like the, you know, the visual effects created characters like the Na'vi, like they actually did design all the costumes physically, so they have a frame of reference
Which
for
makes
it.
sense.
So everything you see in the movie has been crafted by someone else, has already been crafted. So like all the fire people stuff, like there is something that was actually physically designed. The
Which makes
actors,
sense because it is a specific skill set as well.
Mhm.
It's not a case of, oh, a CG artist could do this.
Yeah.
Like it is yeah,
One of my
that
favorite
makes
bits of
sense.
costume design of this entire year is in After Fire and Ash during the scene where where Brian's chasing Neytiri in like the kind of like industrial area. There's a part where Neytiri her top comes off a little bit and you can get a bit of a nip slip. It's a blink and you miss thing. But like that's a crazy design for a CG creation. Like that's
Yeah.
a lot of it. That's some of the real attention to detail for the costume design, as well as like James Cameron trying to do something that is like more of a throwback to make it seem like more of a real world rather than like a fake world that he's just designing by having little things like that pop up.
He's given the sickos what they want as well.
Hell yeah, he is. I think Frankenstein's going to win because it usually goes the movie with the most like extravagant like dresses and gowns.
The most costume design.
Yeah, the most costume design, but it's often like that specific period of time they're going to do. Like, and Frank and like Mia Goth's character has like a lot of creatively designed costumes, so like it's going to go to Frankenstein for sure. I think. I don't think anything else comes close. Even though like Marty Supreme does a lot of interesting things because you can tell like a lot of it by a character by how like the costume's designed. They also do all this stuff in Japan as well on top of the United States and also when they're going over to Europe as well. Um, it's gonna be Frankenstein, which is kind of not exciting, but that's costume design for you.
Yeah, I kind of don't have any real thoughts about this one. I don't think. I haven't seen Frankenstein, but that would make sense. Hamnet, I mean, nothing really. I guess in terms of accuracy, maybe that's the thing. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Marty Supreme, Hamnet, Frankenstein, and Sinners are all period pieces, which is makes sense for this category as well. I think in terms of getting the look and feel of a specific era. As a slight aside, I feel like Marty Supreme was a bit all over the place with this. I kind of liked the weird, incongruent 80s music.
Oh, it's great.
Throughout the
It
film.
fits the movie perfectly because it's about the intention being that like the 80s is the decade of uh selfishness and excess, about capitalism and like like being boisterous, and shoving that music into the 50s is like a really clever way to inform the character.
I've just realised that these are just in alphabetical order, aren't they?
Yeah.
I was like, why is directing next? Anyway, right, okay. So that brings us on to one of the bigger categories, which is directing.
Mm-hmm.
Nominees, we have Hamnet, Chloe Zhao, Marty Supreme, Josh Safdie. I keep having to check myself because I never remember if it was Josh or Benny that has done this one. Which one did which? The Rock boxing film or
Smashing Machine.
Or UFC film, I should say. Yeah, the Smashing Machine. Marty Supreme, Josh Safdie, One Battle After Another, Paul Thomas Anderson. Sentimental Value, Joachim Trier, and Sinners, Ryan Coogler.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea with this category, but lots of talent on display.
Yeah, I think it's going to go one battle after another simply because Paul Thomas Anderson made a great movie and he's a very due director. Like here's the guy who didn't win the director for he didn't win for There Will Be Blood, like he didn't win for Boogie, and it's like he's been one of those guys that's like a real director's director and has not won in the past. But also you never know, maybe they'll do a split and like this will get Ryan Coogler will get director and then one battle to another will get best picture. But I think it's gonna be one battle to another for directing for sure.
Yeah, I think it will be as well, and I would be happy with that. I would also be really happy with Ryan Coogler to win for Sinners because I think Sinners is such an interesting film, even outside of the quality of the film, in terms of it being a little bit disruptive as an original piece that has a very interesting business model in terms of where the rights go back to him after a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And there seemed to be a weird pushback in the mainstream Hollywood circles at the time because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want him to have some success. I didn't like the second Black Panther film, really. But but apart from that, I've liked pretty much everything he's done.
Same.
Um, you know, and a lot of people. Well, I can't remember the name of it now. Fruitvale Station
Yep.
was that? Yeah,
Yeah, this is
love
debut.
Fruitvale Station.
Hmm.
As his debut. Really liked Creed 1. I know he didn't do Creed 2 and 3, but didn't really like Creed 2. But have you seen Creed 3?
Yep.
Well, I presume you would have. Is that worth me
Yes,
watching?
it's really good. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan really has the chops as a director. The final fight looks really cool, what he does with that. And even despite the Jonathan Majors of it all, like Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan have a great dynamic, and Majors puts on a great performance. Like, he's a good actor, bad person, great
He
actor.
built like a brick shit house in that
Yeah.
film as well. It's
Mhm.
insane. Yeah. So I mean, the other nominees here: Chloe Zhao for Hamnet. I think it is a very well directed film.
Mhm.
Chloe Zhao has already won best director.
Mhm.
One thing I wanted to ask you, actually, as someone who follows this a lot, when Nomadland won,
Mhm.
and when Frances McDormand won for Best Actor and Best Actress, sorry, I should say, and all that, did you notice the weird thing where Chloe introduced her as Fern,
Oh,
the character's name,
yeah.
and she seemed to be really annoyed by that.
Mhm.
I don't know. That still sticks in my head as like she was very snappy about it. It
Mm.
made me feel a bit weird about it.
Maybe like she's like
Um,
one of those directors that like looks at like their actors as like, as like you're the pieces I'm playing with right here and stuff, and refers to
See,
this character.
I didn't view it that way. I viewed it as she was going, "This is our Fern from the film,"
Mm.
like the character's name.
Mm.
But what I was saying was weird was Frances McDormand's reaction to it,
Mhm.
because she kind of said, "I'm not Fern, I'm Fran," and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." It was just a bit awkward. You're all winning awards, like let's have a lovely time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think anyone else? I mean, PTA or Kugler. Do you think anyone else is in for a shot or has a shot at this one?
I don't think so. Like, Sentimental Value is a great movie. Is like looks really well directed movie, but like it's yeah, no, it's got to be one of the two major ones. So that this one is not going to be there's going to be a real dark horse coming up from behind.
There's some interesting directorial flourishes in Sentimental Value from a visual perspective. There's a scene which takes place between a hallway and a mirror, which I thought was very interesting with the camera panning.
Mhm.
There was a shot that I thought was really brilliant of Stellan Skarsgård completely in darkness apart from his hands.
Mhm.
There was some really interesting things just from a visual perspective. Um, yeah. So I really like that, and I haven't actually seen any other Joachim Trier films.
Oh, I've only
Um,
seen The Worst Person on Earth, Worst Person in the World. That movie is
yeah,
great. It's really good.
I think that is on Mubi. I might need to watch that next.
Mhm.
Okay, documentary feature film. We have The Alabama Solution. God, there's too many names to read out here, so I'll leave them. Come See Me in the Good Light, Cutting Through Rocks, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, and The Perfect Neighbor. I know nothing about any of these, so the floor is
Yeah,
yours, Brian.
I think The Perfect Neighbor is going to win. It's my least favorite of the five by a lot. That's the one that's about it's all done with shot with body cams. And it's about a woman who she ends up killing a white woman who ends up killing a black woman who was like her kids are like trespassing quote unquote on her property. He's like stand your ground laws in Florida. Um, I think it's pretty exploitive. There's parts of it where like the kids find out that their mom is dead, and the movie actually shows that clip in the movie. And I was like, that feels like something that you should not be including in the film and showing it visually. I think it's something maybe just at best do it with the audio only. But it is the one that is probably the most relevant to the times. And I think a documentary feature film often goes towards the most relevant movie in the cultural zeitgeist at the point. Um, and I can see The Perfect Neighbor just winning it. My favorite of the lot is Mr. Nobody Against Putin, which is about a Russian school teacher who is all for he's pro democracy, and it's about after the invasion of Ukraine and how the Russian propaganda machine is trying to get schools to change the curriculum to be more pro Russia, pro military, and everything. And he's because he's like a media teacher at school, he's just documenting everything. And he took the material he made for the documentary and smuggled it out of the country to get the movie made. which
Oh,
I thought was
wow.
really fascinating. I love just like a Sea of Sacred Fig from last year. I love any movie where someone has to smuggle the movie out of their country out of fear of being arrested. I think that's a really, really brave thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, that kind of adds some power to the documentary as well. Like this, Um, so what do you have any opinions on who you think is going to win?
The Perfect Neighbor's going to win, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to remember. I think the only time I had seen, I was painting myself in a bad light here. The only time I'd seen one of the documentaries that had been nominated before the Oscars actually took place was in 2019. Hale County, This Evening was nominated, and I saw that during a very limited theatrical release um, at a cinema in Manchester called Home. And that year, I think I was just trying to watch a lot more films, and I found it very interesting. But yeah, it's another thing in terms of accessibility. It's sometimes a bit difficult to find some of these showing.
Mm-hmm. I had to
Um,
drive like just half hour outside of Toronto to see Mr. Nobody against Putin because it was the last Oscar nominee I have not seen.
that's commitment.
Yeah.
Documentary short film. We have All the Empty Rooms, Armed Only with a Camera: The Life and Death of Brent Renault, Children No More, Where and Are Gone, The Devil is Busy, and Perfectly a Strangeness. Again, nothing here. So Brian, over to you.
Yeah, this category is bad too. um, Perfectly a Strangeness should not count as a documentary because it's basically someone found like an old like radar station there and filmed a bunch of donkeys wandering around it, and and just has a lot of montages like donkeys looking up at the sky and such, and like it's the way it's like edited together. It's more like trying to be like a narrative feature. So it's out of category fraud. It looks great though. All the Empty Rooms is probably going to win because again, we're talking about a movie that's a very a very issue near dear to Americans, which is the filmmakers. They go to the bedrooms of kids who died in school shootings and photograph them and document them for their parents as part of a memorial project as well as like an activist project. Um, it's it's nice, powerful, not too problematic like some of the other ones could be. Like Show No More is like about like Israelis people protesting Israel, which is going to be a controversial issue. So like I can see All the Empty Rooms winning it all. It's probably actually my favorite of the five, but I still didn't really like it that much.
Right. Okay. The one about the donkey sounds really strange to me. Is it almost like I never know how to pronounce this, but Koyanikatski, where it's like you'll know how to pronounce it probably. The just like shots of buildings and stuff, where it's more of a tone poem type of thing as opposed to a documentary.
Yeah, it's kind of like that in a way, but like I don't know what the movie's trying to say in any way. It's just like there's just donkeys. It looks good. I forget what it's on. It might
That's
be
a
on
pull
Netflix.
quote for the poster. I don't know what the movie's trying to say. There's just donkeys.
That might be what my letterbox review is for that movie. Like for some reason, that letterbox review got like mine really took off. Like this should not count as a documentary. Like what's this trying to say?
It's just donkeys.
Yeah.
If we did the names of episodes, that's what I'd call this one.
Yeah.
Okay, film editing. We have nominees: F1, Stephen Marioni, Marty Supreme, Ronald Bronstein, and Josh Safdie. One Battle of Another, Andy Jurgensen. Sentimental Value, Oliver Buge-Kut. Again, apologies for these names that I am butchering. Sinners, Michael P. Shover. Another technical one, another one that I think is hard to judge as a non-film editor. The only time I think I ever had an opinion one way or the other is aghast that Bohemian Rhapsody won Best Editing.
Yeah.
But
he had to apologize for how bad the editing was during his speech. Like, why would you give it to him?
That's bizarre.
Like a legit,
really
like honestly, like when people talk about
film.
the worst Oscar wins ever, people say like Crash for Best Picture, which is wrong because there's way worse Best Picture winners than Crash. The worst Oscar win ever is Bohemian Rhapsody for editing. That's a movie that has objectively bad editing, and I don't care that they had like stitched together a movie because the director left. There's scenes where it's just like dialogue scenes where there's like 15 cuts for no reason. Like it's haphazard. Like you
It is
don't.
the Catwoman school of editing.
Yeah, but you don't give Catwoman an Oscar for editing just because it was a disastrous shoot. Like, no, you give it to a movie that actually was edited properly. You don't give like consolation prizes for Oscars. Like, I'm sorry.
I dislike that film, and
It's
a lot of my friends love it just because they love Queen, and I'm like, I don't even think Rami Malek's that good in
nope,
that
he's
film.
bad in the movie. I think
He is caricature. It's you know, there's yeah.
I think I've seen something like 60% of the Best Picture nominees, like all of them,
Fucking
and
hell.
it's by far the worst. Like nothing comes close to being as bad as Bohemian Rhapsody. That is like one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
And it's funny because like Dexter Fletcher finished that film after Bryan Singer left, and
Mhm.
Dexter Fletcher went on to do Rocket Man, which I thought was pretty good.
Great movie, yeah.
And I like the flourishes of flights of fantasy within that film, you know, and
Mhm.
floating away from the piano and stuff like
Yeah.
that, as opposed to just the kind of mundane, big
Yeah.
fake teeth,
And also
bad
with
accent.
Bohemian Rhapsody has the problem too, where the rest of Queen had to give their approval for the movie. So like Freddie Mercury was the one who's causing trouble. Like he was the one that's kind of caused difficulties for the band. Well, it was like, oh no, don't worry. The rest of Queen, they're all saints. They were like, trying to keep the band all together and everything. But it's like, no, 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 no. I know the story of Queen. Everyone was a party animal. Like you
Yeah.
can't just like whitewash history. And also the movie
I think
gave,
that's
yeah,
sorry, go on.
the movie gave Freddie Mercury AIDS at a different point in time because they wanted to end the movie on the concert. And it's like you're not telling the story of Freddie Mercury. You're just trying to sell tickets to like a Queen like cover album,
Yeah.
and they didn't have the decency to have Rami Malek sing. So it's just like you're watching bad karaoke, not even bad karaoke. You're watching someone just like pretend to sing like with a microphone in their hand.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's weird though because they like blended elements of his voice with Freddie's and also with a very prominent Freddie tribute singer who I see a lot on socials. And whenever I see him on socials, people comment saying, "Why are you not the lead singer of Queen instead of Adam Lambert?" And I'm like, "What? Do you people really think that Queen would be better as a current entity with a tribute version of Freddie Mercury
Yeah.
in it instead of trying to do something a bit different, be
Mm-hmm.
it with Paul Rodgers or be it with Adam Lambert?" That's a much better, more interesting way of doing it than having someone pretending to be Freddie.
Mm-hmm.
That would be obscene.
Yeah.
Um, I agree, but I actually think that the one scene I did like was the Live Aid scene, but it's because it is a real thing that kind of showed Freddie off for the showman he was,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just mimicking that.
But at that point, you may as well just watch the actual Live Aid concert.
Oh, 100%, I agree. I think what would have been more interesting would be to end it with "The Show Must Go On," because from accounts of when Freddie recorded that song, he did it in one take and he was exhausted. It took it out of him for days. He was like one of the final big things he did.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be poignant as well, just like the show, like the song itself. I think that would have been a much more interesting thing.
Yep.
But yeah, anyway, that film is not up
Yeah,
this year, so I don't know why.
It's not
Yeah,
nominated. But like, yeah, so
Um,
all these movies are edited better than Bohemian Rhapsody. Definitely.
what stands out to you as potential winner here?
I think it's gonna be one after another. That's a movie where there's a lot of like cuts and edits where like they were to drive the tension so well by the way just the movie's pieced together. F1 has some really good the actual racing scenes are really well pieced together, but like there's all the actual like dramatic stuff going on. It's like too long. There's nothing really remarkable about like human stuff. And people always say like editing like, oh like this movie needs an editor because it needs to be half an hour shorter. F1 needed to be half an hour shorter. But like when it comes to editing, it comes to like how a movie is like structured together at the editing booth. And I think that one battle after another has some really interesting flourishes. So I think that's going to win. Yeah, like and and also another thing too with Best Picture is that usually the way you can actually kind of predict Best Picture the best is the winner of Best Picture is like 90% of the time always up for editing as well. So you can kind of discount like 5 of the movies that are up for Best Picture because they're not nominated for editing.
Although saying that, I definitely wouldn't put F1 in anywhere near the running for Best Picture.
No, 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 no. It's by far the worst
In fact,
one.
very odd to me that it was even nominated. And that's speaking as someone who enjoyed the film.
Hmm.
Um, I will say one thing to note about F1 that is interesting is and again, it's how much of it's editing, how much of it's visual effects, how much of it is directing. But
Hmm.
the fact that they use so much real race footage
Hmm.
in a way that was chopped and changed for the film.
Hmm.
Um, Fascinatingly, what they would do is replace all the cars in real race footage with the cars that should be in the scenes in the film.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like an interesting way of reusing real footage, and but it's a film is a combination of all these elements
Hmm.
anyway. But it's kind of, to me, I don't know where that would sit, but I did think that was interesting. One but after another, yeah, I think the editing there is good, but it is such a difficult one to judge as such a technical. It's, to me, good film editing is when you don't notice it
Exactly.
almost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Whereas that's why something like Bohemian Rhapsody stood out, because you notice how terrible it is.
Hmm.
Okay. International feature film. We have Brazil for The Secret Agent, France for It Was Just an Accident, Norway for Sentimental Value, Spain for Sirat, and Tunisia for The Voice of Hind Rajab. Um, we talked earlier about the potential snub of No Other Choice here as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I really wish I was up nominated. I think it's going to be sentimental value. I could also see a Secret Agent winning it too, just because of how big the voting block is in Brazil. Uh, but no, sentimental value is just the one that kind of like everyone is kind of liked from the start. And yeah, it's not going to be as challenging as The Voice of Hind Rajab, which that movie I believe is not very good. It's pretty exploitive. Just and Sarat, which is a real hodgepodge of a movie. That movie has a good first half and then kind of just doesn't know what's going to do the second half other than just shock value. Um, it was just
I
an
don't know
accident.
really anything about that film, actually.
It's about a
I've
guy.
heard of it, but
Yeah, it's about a guy who goes to the desert in I think Morocco to a rave to try to find him and his son go to try to find his wayward daughter who's gone missing, or at least will return his calls, and he basically just joins a caravan of ravers crossing the desert trying to go to a different rave to try and track down his daughter. Um,
hmm.
it's fine. I liked it a lot less than most people. It was just an accident. It's such a great movie. Any other year I would have loved for that to win, but no, I think it's gotta be I think Cinema Value is gonna win it. Um yeah.
Yeah, I'd heard very, very good things about it. It Was Just an Accident, and also interesting because it is an international co-production, as a lot of films are, of course. But like,
Mhm.
I would have said Iranian,
Oh,
but obviously it is French.
Iran's not going to be the one that submits that movie to the
Of
Academy.
course.
It's kind of like how
I
I think
guess.
Sea of a Sacred Fig last year was a German movie for the sake of the Oscars.
Right. Okay.
Hmm.
But yeah, interesting one. I've heard very good. That is on my list to watch as well. That one. Okay, live action short film. We've got Butcher's Stain, A Friend of Dorothy, Jane Austen's period drama, The Singers, and Two People Exchanging Saliva. I don't really seek out short films, and I don't know if I should do it more.
Smart, don't. These are all bad. All of them are bad. I cannot.
Just like, not, oh, not the best short films this year, just bad.
Yeah, no, I don't like any of these. This cannot be the best that short films have to offer offer around the world for 2025. Um, like Butcher Stain is such a very basic thing with a very muddled moral. Friend of Dorothy is that's probably going to win just because Miriam Margolyes have she has a very strong performance in it. It's very accessible, not challenging at all. It's about her friendship with a young man while her own children are just ignoring her, or grandchildren ignoring her. Jane Austen's period drama was a college humor skit that escaped containment and somehow got nominated for an Oscar. Um, I have no idea how the hell it got nominated for an Oscar. It is so unremarkable and not that funny. The Singers is about a bunch of guys at a bar just going around singing, whoever sings the best wins $5 or something like that. And
That
it's
sounds good.
It's not, because like it's like 15 minutes long, and the big revelation, I'm like, oh,
3
like
songs.
it turns out, like, oh, wow, it turns out this guy's a good singer. He ends, and then the next person's like, oh, wow, it turns out this guy's a good singer, and ad nauseum for the rest of the movie. It just did nothing for me. Two People Exchanging Saliva is one that I think is the best made of the lot. Um, it's I see people saying it's a front runner. I just think it's an incomprehensible mess, because it's a black and white French. I think it's French. It's black and white. It's a dystopian world where kissing is punishable by like death. I think kissing is punishable by death. So in this society that somehow built up this dystopia, instead of exchanging currency, you slap one another in the face. So if you want to like buy like a necklace, you get slapped 10 times for it. And it's kind of supposed to be a message, because you're not allowed to kiss. Like, it's about comfort in a world that's kind of, you're alienated. It's kind of hard to reach out to people. But the message is so muddled, and it may be the best looking of the lot, but like it was just kind of like, I get the message you're trying to say, but it's but it's also like told in such a bad way that like it's obvious what they're trying to say, but they don't really have an effective way of saying it. Like, I always joke with how like the dystopian world with the lobster, the Yorgos Lanthimos movie. Like, I would love to figure out how the hell they got to that state for that dystopia. But like
Yeah.
this dystopian world in Two People Exchanging Saliva makes even less sense, and I have no idea how they would lead up to this dystopia.
Hmm. So you're telling me I shouldn't become a fan of short films?
Not the ones up for Oscars. Like, that's the problem. Is that like it's just like I have no idea why they pick these ones.
Is there a limit to length for a short film in the Oscars, or is it anything below feature length?
I think it's 40 or 45 minutes is the dividing part.
Right. Okay. Because there's often quite good short animated films.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. There's often a lot of them, and like what kind of blows my mind with animated short film is that like so like I didn't like most of them this year, but like all five had very, very unique art styles, and it was like that's a really cool way to animate something. And then you look at the animated feature category, and it's like, okay, now you have Disney Pixar house style, and like you kind of look at like none of these are animated really that interesting of ways. I think Little Amelie is animated a really interesting way, but like the fact that you have all these decades of Pixar and Disney dominance in this category, when like you look at animated short film, where like people are basically using these animated short film as like a jumping point for their careers or creativity, and they're just gonna get hired by Pixar and just do homogenized style, which is really tragic.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, animated short films is how My Home City got its Oscars through Nick Park and Wallace and Gromit. So maybe
Oh,
that's why
nice,
I
yeah.
prefer.
See, and
Yeah.
those are good ones. Those are a lot of fun. They look great. I love the stop motion. Like Wallace and Gromit stuff is incredible. Like,
There was
yeah.
one I watched a couple of years ago that I quite liked as well, and I can't remember the name of it, and you'll definitely know. The French one about the hand that was walking around. What was that one called?
Oh, it's something called like
I
my
Miss My Body or
I
something.
miss my body. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Is that what it's called? Oh,
I
might
think it's
be.
called I miss my body, or like I miss. Yeah,
Or
that
was
was
that
good.
even
Yeah.
short? That might have been feature length. I can't remember. Um, okay, makeup and hairstyling. We've already mentioned this earlier in the show. You want, how do you pronounce it again? Kokuo?
Kokuo, I think.
Kokuo.
Yeah.
You would like that one to win. But we also have Frankenstein nominated, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister. Makeup and hairstyling as a combined category does get into the pro, you know, the makeup effects are often, like last year's Substance, it is like creature effects is included in that. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes people read this and think, oh, it's your best makeup in terms of how you look on the film.
Mm-hmm.
The Ugly Stepsister is a body horror, as I understand
Yep.
it, or has body horror elements.
It's a body horror, all right. Yep.
The Smashing Machine, to make The Rock unrecognizable,
Mm-hmm.
I guess is the reason for that being nominated.
There's also a lot of stuff in that movie, which like I've had some arguments with people about this movie, because like it's set in the 90s, and like the fact they did like a lot of very period accurate hair and makeup for it, which like it's not that long ago, but like they do it for both America and Japan. So I really like the fact that like the movie actually looks authentic for the periods of the time. Like all the extras, they look, their makeup and hairstyling is like very accurate to the periods. I don't think it's a bad nomination at all. Plus all the, of course, like the blood and bruises.
Nothing stands out to me about Sinners from a makeup and hairstyling category, but I might be missing something.
There's some hairstyling, especially with a lot of the black women in that movie.
Yeah.
That's really
Okay.
creative.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, again, that's like something where I'm probably not thinking about the complexities of that.
yeah, and also all the blood effect, all the blood on people's faces. And I guess like
uh,
all the vampire stuff too. So
do you think this is going to be Frankenstein then?
yeah, because of how they get Jacob Elordi all done up in that movie. All the way they make the creature look is actually, I love how the creature looks in Frankenstein. Plus like Mia Goth all dolled up in like period appropriate attire, so all the makeup, all her hair and everything. Yeah, but Kokuho is the one that impressed me the most because that is like, that one is just has like absolutely extravagant attire. That one covers decades as well, so it's a lot of changing periods of time. The main character is former Yakuza, so he has the big Yakuza tattoos. A ton of really great tattoo work in that movie, or fake tattoos. All the kabuki attire. That one is just completely blew me away. Ugly Stepsister, of course, the period piece is trying to be like it's like a Cinderella. It's like Cinderella from the stepsister's point of view.
Yeah.
And like that one is like it's bloody, it's violent. There's some nasty tapeworm stuff in that movie. It's a very nasty movie, and I think the makeup and stuff, it looks absolutely incredible in it. Because you had stuff like, the Cinderella at the ball and such. So you have people dressed up for the ball and stuff, people getting ready for, you know, preparing for the ball. So you have all kinds of really great hairstyles. But it's gonna be Frankenstein, which I don't think is a bad one. I think what they did to make the creature look alien but human and relatable was really interesting.
Yeah, I do need to see that. I kind of, when I was talking before about Timothy Chalamet about like, oh, just trying to make fetch happen, I kind of feel a bit like that about Jacob Elordi too.
Mm-hmm.
But I've only seen snippets of him. I haven't really seen him properly to make that judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this is probably a bit of a weird one because he is playing a creature as
Yeah.
well, Frankenstein's monster.
I
Yeah,
would say
I'll
with
definitely.
Jacob Elordi, check out the Sofia Coppola movies, Priscilla, one where he plays
Yes,
Elvis.
he plays Elvis, doesn't he? Yeah.
He's great in that movie. I also he's really good in the show Euphoria. He's an actor I always like when he pops up and stuff. I think he's a very talented guy.
What do you think of him potentially being James Bond?
If they're able to make him look a little bit shorter, that would work. I saw Jacob Elordi in person at TIFF, and like I was like, this is the tallest human being I've ever seen in my entire life. Like he has
I was
that
gonna say
aura
he's too
about him.
tall and good looking to be Bond to me.
Yeah,
That's why I quite like the idea of Thingamajig from the new Knives Out movie and the Mastermind.
Oh, Josh O'Connor.
Josh O'Connor. I quite like the idea of him like slightly funky looking.
Yeah,
Like yeah, I want him to be Bond.
yeah, he'd be a cool pick too, to get us to bulk up a little bit. Yeah,
Make him Bond. Make it set in the 50s. Make it.
I disagree with the saying in the past, because like I always like how James Bond movies are always like about the present, and like you can always go back and watch the ones set in the 60s. I think that if you keep trying to go back towards the 60s Sean Connery era, then you're not going to try anything new. And I think that James Bond's done some interesting things with even being the internet age and being about like having cell phones and stuff. I don't think it has to be set in the past.
Yeah, but I think that uh hang on one sec, sorry. I think that from I suppose now that Mission Impossible is probably wound down a little bit as well, because like to me that was always like the modern take on that kind of spy concept in a weird way, and probably outbonds Bond in a lot of ways. Whereas I kind of like the idea of, you know, the more, not authentic's the wrong word, but back to the Cold War, back to, you know, having to come up with interesting solutions to problems and subterfuge and stuff like that. I don't know. I just like the idea of doing that, especially with someone like Denis Villeneuve at the helm. I think that, yeah, I don't know. I always like asking people who they think should be Bond.
Yeah.
Music, original score. We have got Begonia, Jensen Fendrix, Frankenstein, Alexandra Desplat, Hamnet, Max Richter, One Battle After Another, Johnny Greenwood, and Sinners, Ludwig Göransson.
I think
I have got. I will just say, just for the record, I have got a Radiohead tattoo. So,
Oh yeah. And the score in One About Another is absolutely incredible. So like it's
I like how mental it is. It's just
yeah.
like
Mhm.
it is very much a Johnny Greenwood score, though.
Mhm. Yeah, and like that and all the action scenes, it's so effective. All like the plinkiness, it's like the piano there, it's like great. Um, I think it's gonna be Sinners mainly because the music's great in Sinners, but also it's a movie about music.
Yeah, yeah, and it is a very good score. I like Ludwig as well. I cannot remember the music in. Oh no, I do remember the music in Begonia, but only when he starts cycling his bicycle
Yeah,
towards Alicia Silverstone, and it
yeah,
suddenly kicks in.
yep.
Um,
Other than that, I
uh,
don't really. The music in Begonia left no impact on me.
no, Hamlet is a weird one. Very nice Max Richter score.
Hmm.
Took me out of the film when On the Nature of Daylight started playing,
Hmm.
which is Max Richter's piece. So at least it's his own music he's using.
Hmm.
But that is it's an amazing piece of music. Don't get me wrong, but it's so overplayed. I think
Yeah.
that it did. I was like, is this On the Nature of Daylight? And then as it kicked in, I'm like, for fuck's sake, it's that again. And it's annoying because it works so well in the scene.
Hmm.
And for I'd say 90% of people, 99% of people watching it, they probably wouldn't have that stupid Michael brain thing of knowing what that song is and having heard it in Arrival and in a dozen other TV
Hmm.
commercials and television programs to have have it take you out of the
Yeah.
film. But the music is beautiful,
Hmm.
and it is in the style of On the Nature of Daylight, as Max Richter likes to do
Hmm.
throughout the rest of the film. So like I appreciate it. It's just yeah, I don't know, that kind of it's not the fault of the music, but that choice was a bit jarring to me.
Hmm.
Uh,
Frankenstein, the music there left no impact for me. I've seen the movie twice. Couldn't tell you anything about the music. Like,
yeah, and Desplat has won Oscars for Best Music before, where I've kind of not really noticed the music.
hmm.
So yeah. So yeah, I'd quite like it to be Sinners.
Hmm.
I love Johnny, despite some of his opinions on things.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't mind it being one battle after another. And I wouldn't mind it being Hamlet, to be honest. Begonia just didn't leave an impact on me, and I've
Hmm.
not seen Frankenstein. So,
Yeah.
okay, music original song. We've got Dear Me, Diane Warren. How many Oscar nominations does Diane Warren have? It must be up there as a record.
Oh, it's something like 17 or 18 right now. So the music.
I didn't expect you to have an answer for me, by the way.
But
That's amazing.
no, because the movie she's nominated for, Diane Warren, Relentless. It's a documentary about how she keeps losing Oscars.
Oh my God, is it? Right,
Yeah,
I didn't even realize that. I just thought off the top of my head, oh God, Diane Warren gets nominated for
yeah,
lots of
which is
Oscars.
like it's such a 30 Rock joke to have. Like, you know,
If she wins for this,
she won't. She won't. Like,
imagine if she did, though.
at least they'll finally fucking stop nominating for the shittiest fucking movies. Can I swear? I forget if I can swear or not.
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, she gets nominated for the shittiest fucking movies I've ever seen in my entire life every goddamn year. And like, I did the Oscar death race, so like, I had to watch that really awful Tyler Perry movie, like the 637 or whatever like that, about the black woman who delivered the mail in like World War II or something. And like, that movie sucked. I had to watch that Flaming Hot movie, but the fictional story about like the biopic about the guy who made the Flaming Hot Cheeto, because she was up for that. Again, all the stuff that she gets nominated for sound like Jenna Maloney 30 Rock jokes. Like, and the Flaming Hot Cheeto thing was a bullshit story too. The guy didn't actually invent the Cheeto. He was part of like the Frito-Lay, like he was a diversity hire, and he was in the boardroom. It's like, hey, we should make this a flavor. Perfect. He didn't actually like invent the Cheeto when he's working on the ground floor, like doing it. But yeah, anyway, she should have won for that movie she did with that song she did about Lady Gaga about sexual assault on campuses, because that was the year that that terrible Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith for Spectre, that Bond song, that won the Oscar that year, and like that song's terrible. And
I don't mind that song, but that whole the way he they reacted to that
Mhm.
thing kind of annoyed me a little bit.
So like, oh, I'm the first gay man to win an Oscar. I'm like,
Yeah,
you're not
that
even
was
the first gay man in that category to win that Oscar.
Yeah, that annoyed me a bit, but I don't mind that song. But again, as a Radiohead fan, I was a bit because
Yeah.
Radiohead released their song,
And
Spectre.
it's so much better.
And someone synced it up to the opening credits, and it works so
Oh my
well.
god, I
And
wish that
almost in
happened.
my head, when I think of that film, I think of the Radiohead song for, but I don't actually mind it. I'm not gonna lie. Like I like Sam's voice.
I don't like
It
Sam's
can be a
voice is
little
my
bit.
problem.
I do. It can be a bit grating, but
Hmm.
I don't mind that song. It just more they annoyed me around that. I think Sam identifies as they are, but
Now they
but
do, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um. So you're this is gonna be golden, yeah.
It's gonna be golden. I wish it was I Lied to You from Sinners, because that scene is where the spirits and music come from all the times and placed into the one spot is just one of those like incredible scenes of a movie, and I loved it so much. Um, and Sweet Dreams of Joy, it's not remarkable. That movie, it's like a documentary about like retired opera singers, and it's kind of a little bit dull, kind of heartwarming a little bit, but not that exciting. That was a weird one because like no one had heard this movie until it got nominated, but like the Oscar song branch is very, very strange. Um,
Yeah.
Train Dreams is a nice little song. That's fine. But
I like Nick Cave. I've not heard the song. I've seen Nick Cave live though.
oh, cool.
Um,
That'd be awesome.
yeah, and I'm not even a big Nick Cave fan. I was just kind of my friend Keith, who I'll definitely get on this podcast at some point.
Mhm.
Um, is a big Nick Cave fan and needed someone to go with him, so I went.
Nice.
I went with him, and I enjoyed it. But I wasn't like a big fan of his work before that. Apart from his screenplay for Gladiator 2, I'm a big I'm a big fan of that.
I wish they made that so badly. It sounds like such an insane movie.
It sounds more interesting than what they did make.
I know.
Yeah, I agree. I Lie to You. I find it again, just as someone. So just so you know, Brian, I grew up in Ireland. I have Irish heritage, so like the use of Irish songs like Rocky Road to Dublin, and a Scottish song, but the other main song in that is predominantly a Scottish song. Like I really like that. I liked how they were kind of um co-opted by the community around that film, and like people discovering like Irish music and stuff. Obviously not an original song, but yeah, I Lie to You I thought was very good as well. I love all the music in that film. I'd be happy for it to get both music Oscars,
Yeah, same.
because it's such a big part of the film as well. That's the other thing.
But it's gonna be K-pop Demon Hunters that's gonna win, and that's gonna be a really cool performance at the ceremony itself.
Oh god, there's still quite a few, and we've been going 2 hours.
Let's speed through them. Yeah.
Let's speed through these and then go to Best Picture last. So production design, we've got Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners.
It's going to be Frankenstein that wins, because that one has like a really interesting production design. They like Guillermo del Toro movies, and that movie has like a really interesting sets going on. They may not show the sets the best because cinematography is not that great, but yeah, it's the gothic. It's gothic. It's extravagant. So I think it's going to win. I would like for Marty Supreme to win, because I think that the way that Jack Fisk has done has made 60s New York look it depicts specific areas of New York that don't really show often in movies in a specific era, and also all the stuff in Japan looks really cool too. But I think it's gonna be Frankenstein.
Yeah, I love the look of the sets and the locations of Marty Supreme, and even when they go out into the sticks a little bit, out into Jersey, is it? And you know the Penn Jillette jump scare, that whole thing. Yeah, and I think it's such a weird thing, because like New York is such it's depicted in films so often, but it so often doesn't feel authentic. I'm saying this as someone who's not been to New York, so it might be a bit hollow of me to say that, but it doesn't feel like an example I always think of is Short Circuit 2.
Haven't seen it.
Which is shot in Toronto, and it does not look like New York. And I always kind of think that as a kid I was probably like, yeah, this is New York, but no. But then you got films like a big one that I love is Die Hard with a Vengeance, and just kind of has that shot on film, very specific look and feel. It feels like New York, and I feel like period New York, which adds another layer of complexity. But I did really like Marty Supreme for that. Similarly, another one that jumps to mind in that respect is Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yes,
just that kind of era. But yeah, what I was going to say is Hamnet is just Eastern Europe standing in for 1600s UK. It looks stunning as a film,
great,
but I didn't think. Yeah,
I've seen it before. Like I've seen the movies like that shot that way before. Yeah.
And Sinners is an interesting one because the town feels very real.
Mhm.
I know that a lot of it wasn't. Like the train station and the train, that was all fictional, wasn't it? It was all built,
Mhm.
but the train was CG actually. Yeah, I like that kind of. But again, a lot of it just takes place in that barn, which is a nice. Like it feels real. It's got a nice look and feel to it.
Mhm.
But I don't know if it is what stands
You
out in that film.
you kind of get the geography of it all too, so you kind of know where people have gone and or to go where they can hide in the place. I think it's a good setup and payoff for the action scene.
Yeah. Okay, sound nominees: F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Sirat.
Uh,
Is this a case of most sound with like F1, or is it?
Yeah, it's gonna be most sound. It's gonna be F1. And that's a great sounding movie. Uh, and yeah, like all the all the racing stuff is like really sounds great, looks great. Um, Frank is like all these movies sound good. I think Surat has really great sound design because all the rave stuff has some really good tension scenes with like vehicles failing in the desert. Um, but yeah, like I'd probably give it to One Battle After Another, or Sinners, but like it's gonna go to F1 because like this is most sound and like this is one where because they mix together sound mixing and sound editing, and this
Yeah,
is
I don't know why they did that,
they want to make the ceremony shorter.
but they failed.
They fail every time they try to make the ceremony shorter. The ceremony is always longer. So
As an aside, though, it's Conan O'Brien again this year,
yeah,
right? Because I did think he was a very good host.
hmm
I did appreciate him as a host, at least.
hmm
Um, Visual effects, I would say to anyone who's interested in this category, Corridor Crew's video on this is really, really interesting, speaking as visual effects experts. The one that stands out for me on this as a really interesting one, just because I hadn't really heard of it, is The Lost Bus, which has an insane amount of visual effects, but like a lot of good visual effects, they're the kind that you might not necessarily notice.
hmm
So, Brian, I don't know if you knew, but almost every tree in that film isn't really there.
hmm
Like pretty much every shot has got visual effects in it.
Oh yeah.
But even before, so people know it's about the wildfires in California. But even before the fires take roots, to showcase the amount of wind, like so
hmm
you can't just fictionally blow stuff at a massive tree and make it move the way wind is. So
hmm
everything was replaced with visual effects. I think this should be Avatar.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not
hmm
just parroting the Corridor Crew guys on that, because Weta just have like the Avatar films are generational leaps when they come out. And granted, in this case, maybe not quite as much because it has only been 2 years since Way of Water, but the amount of fidelity, complexity of the systems interacting, but also the stuff that you might not notice. For example, the character of Spider, who is a real person and really on set for a lot of that film, is sometimes entirely CGI and you would not know. Like the level of believability and crossing the line of Uncanny Valley, which is something that I think the original Avatar was one of. The original Avatar, and as well as Gollum from Lord of the Rings, both Weta, primarily Weta, I know there's dozens of studios work on these films these days, were the things where the eyes kind of crossed that Uncanny Valley for me and made me believe they were real characters more than anything that had predated them.
hmm
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess gonna
Sorry, do
be
you want to add anything on this section? I've just been chatting rubbish about it. Apologies, Brian.
Avatar: Fire and Ash is the best. It should win. It will win.
Yeah. F1, great, because everything's been replaced. Jurassic World, big dinosaurs look great, fine. The Lost Bus, interesting. Sinners, the main visual effects components of that is the two Michael B. Jordans, which was done in a very interesting way, where obviously sometimes you can just do the split and have two shots intermingled together, but for most of the film it was actually a stand-in actor whose face was replaced. So that poor actor, obviously his physical performance embodying trying to act like Michael B. Jordan, it's credited, but it's like an like a task that you've not really been praised for. I'm trying to think of the idiom. I can't think of the idiom I'm trying to say. Stammering over more words. Apologies. But yeah, Avatar, I agree. Writing, we've got the two writing ones we'll quickly go through. So adapted, we've got Begonia by Will Tracy, Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro, Hamnet, Chloe Zhao, and Maggie O'Farrell. Maggie O'Farrell actually wrote the novelization. Well, the novel, not novelization, which this film is based on. One Battle After Another, written by Paul Thomas Anderson. What the heck is One Battle After Another adapted from?
It's based on Vineland by Thomas Pynchon.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Loosely.
And then I remember reading it. And then Train Dreams, Clint Bentley and Greg Quidar. What's your thoughts here?
I think One Battle After Another is going to win. It's also like it takes the bones of the Pynchon novel and like does something very interesting and modernizing it, but also not being beholden to it. I think Paul Thomas Anderson did a great job of adapting it, where it's just like he's telling his own story and using the book as a jumping point, just basically on the relationship with like the agent, the daughter, like just having having those elements there and having it be revolutionaries, or people like fighting against the system. I think he did a great job adapting it, and I think it deserves to win. I think it will win.
Okay,
especially because that would ensure that Paul Thomas Anderson gets himself an Oscar, because he has no Oscars to his name at this point.
Yeah, and it is one of those kind of like what's a good example? Colin Firth winning for
King's
The
Speech,
King's Speech, as opposed to for one of the other films that he might have been more suited for. Not that the film is here. I just more in this case the category. Writing original screenplay, we've got Blue Moon, written by Robert Kaplow. It Was Just an Accident, written by Jafar Panahi, with multiple script collaborators. Marty Supreme, written by Ronald Bronstein and Josh Safdie, and Sentimental Value, written by Eskel Vought and Joachim Trier, and Sinners, written by Ryan Coogler. Blue Moon, it's interesting that this is original. I thought this might have been adapted because it's about a real person, isn't it?
Yeah. But even something that's based on like a real person, it's still an original thing if you're not basing off another text.
Yeah, I understand that. I just more thought, I wonder if in my head I was like, I bet there was a book, or I bet there was something else that it was based on. That's all.
Yeah, because it definitely feels like, because it's like one location, one night. It follows him entirely. It could almost be like, Blue Moon feels like something that could have been a stage show. It's my favorite of the when it comes to the original screenplay. Be one I would like to win the most, because the dialogue they gave Ethan Hawke in that screenplay is just so perfect. And the fact that it's a movie that just go like Sinners and something like Sinners, like its strengths are the direction, the acting, all the things around it. But Blue Moon, that's one where it's the screenplay that really makes it shine.
Yeah.
In the end, though, I think it's gonna be Sinners is going to win this one. It's a nifty screenplay. It's people have seen it. People have watched this movie, and like I think that it would be cool for Jafar Panahi to win an award, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. The one thing that I would say is that both Marty Supreme and Sentimental Value, I think, have the same, from not an issue, but the same kind of criticism leveled at them in terms of, does the character get the comeuppance they deserve? Which is, and I think I understand as a criticism leveled at both of those. Do they get a happy or happier ending than they should do in terms of what happens in the rest of the film? I don't know if I necessarily agree with that stance, but I've definitely heard that.
I don't think Marty Supreme has a happy ending.
No, it's not a happy ending, but
he's trapped in his own hell forever, I think so.
But he's happy. He's finally admitting he's a dad, at least.
Yeah, but now he's realized, like, the way he's crying as like Everybody Wants to Rule the World is playing, as you hear the babies crying over the credits. There's like, he still wants to rule the world, but now he has this baby here, and like, who knows, with Marty, he might decide to keep doing his ping pong dream and abandon the kid, because he abandoned his pregnant girlfriend to go do his thing. So
true. Okay, right. Best Picture.
Here we go.
Apologies, Brian, that we've been going so long.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
This is by far the longest episode of the podcast so far. I think that this is probably not going to be as long a section as I would have worried, because we have touched on most of these films already in other sections. Just so people can hear the list of Best Picture nominations or nominees: Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. I would just want to say, first of all, this has been a pretty good year for films, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a great year. I like all these movies to some degree. And there's like look at my letterbox list for all the movies I saw in 2025. Like, it's been like a extremely solid year. Not too many movies I've despised like previous years. And there's just been a lot of just really great movies that it's impossible to fit them all in here.
What is the figure, by the way, on your letterbox list for 2025?
2025, I think it's 160 something.
So that's films that were released theatrically in 2025.
Yes. That would also include shorts as well.
See, that is the kind of number I would strive to, just for films full stop in a year, not for release in the calendar year.
Just trying to see.
I think.
Well, I have a list of things I just saw in of just 2020 of the theatrical things ranked. Let's see. 2025 ranked 164 feature films.
That's it. Absolutely. Feature films.
Feature films,
Jesus. Yeah. Okay. So we can just maybe very quickly touch on each of these. We've already discussed them, really. Begonia. I really enjoyed Begonia. I understand your stance on the ending, but I just kind of loved it for what it was. I don't think it is, like, politically or from a, what's the message here? I don't think it's got a good message. I think it's just more an interesting, insane ending. I appreciated for how insane it was. But is there anything you want to add on Begonia?
I love the final scene where like everyone's just dead. I think that's a really crazy way to end the movie. I just wish I just need to rewatch it, because I thought it was going a direction I thought was very interesting, and then it swerved into a direction that felt pretty narrow-minded. Maybe not narrow-minded, maybe more just like nihilistic, where I thought it was going more interesting directions than that.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, actually, nihilistic. I do want to. One thing I'll just add on Begonia is Aidan Delbis, who plays one of the lead roles in the film. I can't remember his character's name, but he is Jesse Plemons' cousin. Was I thought very, very good. Both him and the character are on the autism spectrum, so it was interesting that it's not someone, pretending to have autism or pretending to convey those kind of mannerisms. It was authentic, and I thought they were really good. And I like it when films do that. It's an unknown guy. It must have been open casting or through some other channels. And I just wanted to kind of highlight him. I think that obviously Jesse and Emma were brilliant in it as well. Formula One. I enjoyed Formula One. Are you a fan of Formula One, the sport?
No, my dad watches a lot of it, so I've watched some of it with him, but like I've just never been a car person myself.
So I'm a fan of Formula One, but the one thing I'll say is that if you're going to do the Top Gun Maverick, old school is the best way, run, don't go on a treadmill with sensors on you, just go running around the track kind of stance, Formula One is the wrong sport to do that. It is the most technical, everything measured down to an inch, sensors on the tires telling you the metrics used in that sport. It is Dolph Lundgren in Rocky IV as opposed to Rocky. So that's kind of an odd placement. And I will say that kind of annoyed me. I mean, the stuff that Brad Pitt does in that film, he would have been banned instantly.
Oh God, yeah. He basically cheats in every race.
He cheats in every race, and then that's good, apparently.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it because it is literally just Top Gun Maverick, but in cars. Even the way it's shot, I mean, same director, but the way it's shot, the cockpit views, it just felt like that in a big way. But I still enjoyed it for what it was, definitely.
For me, my problem with F1 was all the emotional drama I never bought. I felt like it was just a generic sports movie at that point, whereas like something like Top Gun Maverick, which like I bought the emotional stuff because like that's a movie about Tom Cruise, is like movie stardom pretty much, and how like he's coming back to prove a point that he can make him better than the rest, and he made a movie better than the rest. So
Also, I just want to highlight Sarah Niles playing Damson Idris's mother, even though she's like couple of years older than him.
yeah.
It was a bit weird. I did like that. I was thinking this. I was watching it. I was like, Kerry Condon is Banshees of Inisherin, absolutely loved her in it. And I kind of like that she was in here with her Irish accent. And also she's a little bit older. She's not a very, very young actress. But then I was thinking, well, as a love interest, she's still significantly younger than Brad Pitt.
Younger.
I think Brad Pitt just gets away with it because he's Brad Pitt. You almost don't think of it as much. But the dude is in his 60s. He doesn't look like he's in his 60s, but
he is.
So as I was watching, I was like, oh, it's quite nice that they're maybe a bit closer in age than he's. And then I'm like, but they're not really. Like he's still not, 20 years older.
He's not boinking some 18-year-old, which is nice.
Yeah, and also she is the chief engineer, which I quite liked as well. It's there is a lot of a surprising amount of women in F1 in engineering roles and stuff like that. So in the real sport, I mean, Frankenstein, I have not seen. Guillermo del Toro is a bit of a blind spot for me. I've not really seen much of his stuff. I've seen Pacific Rim and I've seen The Shape of Water, but I have not seen Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth is the best one. I love that movie.
Yeah, so maybe someone will pick that for me on this podcast. But yeah, is there anything else that you want to add on that? I know we've kind of talked about it quite a lot.
I'm not as big a fan of Guillermo del Toro movies as a lot of people. I think it's middle of the pack for him. It's an entertaining movie. It kind of slows to a crawl at one point, but really picks up once it becomes Jacob Elordi's movie. And yeah, it's fine. I think it's an interesting take on Frankenstein. He makes some interesting choices with it. There seems to be some scenes missing in a way plot wise, which is kind of bizarre, but yeah, it's fine. Yep. Nothing more to add.
Do you think there's going to be a director's cut or something, or is it a Netflix issue?
No, it's not. I think it's a screenplay issue more than anything else.
Right. Okay.
There's parts.
Who would win in a fight, Jacob Elordi's monster or Robert De Niro's monster?
I haven't seen the Robert De Niro one.
Oh, I haven't either. I've just seen scenes of it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hamnet, again, we've talked about this quite a lot. I did really like Hamnet.
Love it, yeah.
I don't know how much more we can add on that. Paul Mescal in After Sun, I think, is one of my favorite performances of probably of the century, I think.
Yeah, he should have won the Oscar that year because that is one of the best performances I've seen in a long time. That's one of the best movies of the decade.
Also, when I think of okay, at least he got the nomination. The other big one that I always think of a lot is Ethan Hawke in First Reformed, as like the ones that kind of stick with me beyond the flashy, showy ones that everyone remembers. I have nothing really more else to add on that other than I really enjoyed it, and I kind of like that they didn't even say the word Shakespeare until like two-thirds through the movie.
Yeah.
Marty Supreme, again, we've talked about this an awful lot. As I finished that, as I watched it, I kind of knew it was going to be a little bit divisive. Not massively, but a little bit. But then I thought, I don't care. I loved it. Loved every second. Give me more of this. It's got the juice as far as I was concerned. Yeah, is there anything else that you want to add on Marty Supreme?
Yeah, I know it rocks. Chalamet's incredible. It's a funny movie. It's a dark movie. They got Kevin O'Leary to do a good performance somehow. Gwyneth Paltrow, I'm glad she's back making real movies again.
Yeah, there's some controversy around Kevin O'Leary because I had no idea who the guy was. We don't get Shark Tank over here. We have a program called Dragon's Den, which is, I guess, the same concept.
Yeah. That's what's called in Canada as well. We have Dragon's Den as well, which I think Kevin O'Leary is also a part of.
Oh, is he? Well, and then I was kind of thinking, is it like Duncan Bannatyne off Dragon's Den being cast in a movie? Is it like that? Because I thought he was an actor. The guy, I thought he was pretty good. But apparently people just don't like him. There's some controversy around him as a person, I guess.
Yeah, as a Canadian businessman, so you see him a lot on the news trying to opine on issues. He basically is like almost like a Trump guy. He may have killed someone in a boat. Google Kevin O'Leary boat to learn some more. He may have
Is
kill
this
someone
something I need to put a disclaimer on screen that the views of
allegedly.
Brian Wishart?
Allegedly,
Okay.
just Google Kevin O'Leary wife boat, and you can learn more yourself. But no, I thought it was like a really good non-actor performance in that movie. Zion's really great in that movie too. Like it's just like a top-down, like a really great movie that I think it's going to age very well too.
Yeah. One battle after another. Again, we've talked this to death.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen quite a few Paul Thomas Anderson films. There's certainly stuff like There Will Be Blood, but I do have a lot of gaps in my PTA knowledge, so I kind of don't know how I feel about him as a director overall, other than he is often mentioned as a very good auteur director, blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. And this film, as I was going into it, I'd heard good things, and I was like, I don't know if I'm really into the mood for this, but it just gripped me from the off. I was
Mm-hmm.
like strap in, I'm in here for the ride. I think that it's probably going to win
Oh
Best
yeah,
Picture. I don't know what you think.
I think so too.
And
Yeah.
I think it would be a deserving Best
Mm-hmm.
Picture as well if it did win.
Agreed.
Anything you want to add on that? I feel like we've talked this one to death in particular.
Nope, nothing to add.
The Secret Agent, we haven't really spoke about much. I haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Brazilian film. Second year in a row we have a Brazilian film nominated for Best Picture as opposed to just Best International Feature. I don't really know a lot about it. What are your thoughts on The Secret Agent?
I think it's great. I think it's a really interesting movie that touches a lot about memory, because a lot of it is like looking back at the era it's depicting. Beautifully shot movie. Wagner Moura is incredible in it. It's about like being in a country with a kind of a corrupt government or in a system of corruption and trying to escape from that. So trying to do good in that, trying to do right by your family in that. And then, just the after effects that causes being part of that. I think it's a really, really great movie. It's a great nomination. I love that it's in here.
This is one of the times I've used my VPN. I've signed up for a month of Hulu because it's on there, and so was another one of the. There's another film on there that is nominated for stuff that I wanted to watch as well. So I was like, I'll sign up for a month of Hulu. We don't get Hulu. We kind of get Hulu in the UK actually because we have Disney Plus. And for a long time, a lot of Hulu stuff came to our version of Disney Plus.
That's what's like
but
in Canada, yeah.
But under a banner called Star. But now they've rebranded the Star side of things to Hulu, weirdly. Because I think, aren't they just kind of consolidating everything into Disney Plus anyway? Isn't there some weird thing going on? But it's not the same. It's not the same library. So there's like a lot of the original content will come over, but like films and stuff won't. So I am going to watch that on there. Sentimental value we've talked about quite a bit. My first Joaquin Trier. I absolutely adored everything about this film. Predominantly, primarily the performances as opposed to the plot of the film. But I can't. I would urge people to seek this out because I feel like sometimes what I was saying earlier is that I was kind of impressed that quite a lot of people had gone to see No Other Choice in my local cinema, and I'm like that. And Bong Joon-ho said when Parasite won the Oscars, it's like that 1-inch tall barrier of subtitles, like get across that and try and see more content that is not in your language. I argued with my brother once because I wanted him to watch Parasite, and he's like, why? I've not seen all the English language films.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I think he was just trying to wind me up a bit, to be fair. But yeah, sentimental value I loved. Is there anything you want to add on that?
The one thing I say about sentimental value is I know a lot of people were didn't want to watch it because they thought like seeing the trailers would be a very, very heavy and depressing movie. It's not really that. It's sad at points, but like it's not a heavy movie. It's really funny. It holds up really well to rewatch too. It's a really great movie. So like it's not a movie that is going to be as heavy as the trailers suggest, because I think the trailers are kind of sold a different movie than we actually got.
Do you think that Timothy Chalamet, he'd definitely feel a bit like Stellan Skarsgård's character talking about theatre being old and Sinners again. We've talked about this to death as well. In isolation, it is a film that like it set the record for the most nominations. which would surprise. I would after I saw that, I really enjoyed it, but I did not expect this level of critical acclaim and reaction. I thought it would be well reviewed and well liked, but it really seems to have captured the zeitgeist and like flown through award season, being nominated here, there, and everywhere. I don't think it's going to win personally.
Same.
I would be fine if it did.
Same.
But I also don't think it's the best picture on this list. Is there anything else for Sinners from your perspective?
No, I think I've already talked Sinners enough.
And finally, Train Dreams, I've not seen. You seemed a bit more cold on it than I thought you might have.
I know, I loved the movie. I just said the cinematography is something that just not really blow my mind with that movie. But yeah, no, I think Joel Edgerton's incredible. It's a very touching movie. It's a soft movie. William H. Macy has a great supporting performance in the movie too. Yeah, it's a very, very lovely movie. I liked it a lot.
I feel like it's the second, because I did start the film and like I said, I just wasn't in the mood, and I'm going to go back and finish it. And the second kind of period-y film in a row where I've kind of been surprised when Felicity Jones has appeared on screen. Yeah. I feel like she was such a hot property for a while, and like she's in Oscar-nominated films. Don't get me wrong, and Oscar-winning films in the case of The Brutalist. But yeah, it just kind of surprised me. She kind of seemed to fizzle out a little bit, but now I'm just seeing her pop up here and there. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope
don't know what I'm trying to say with that.
In the rise, because I do like her a lot.
Yeah, I like her a lot as well. But I wasn't actually, weirdly, the biggest fan of her in The Brutalist. I don't know if it was her accent. There was just something felt a little bit off about her in The Brutalist to me. But maybe I don't know. It was a bit of a weird film anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so for me, my personal pick, and who I think is going to win is One Battle After the Other. What is yours?
Same here, One Battle After Another.
Is there anything on here that you would be disappointed to see win?
F1. If F1 somehow won, I think that would be shocking and bad. It's not
the chaotic part of my mind wants to see F1 win this and wants to see Diane Warren win Best Original Song.
Yeah, at least if Diane Warren wins, hopefully they'll stop nominating her for fucking Oscars every year. They gave her an honorary award. It's good enough. Like, come on, like save it for someone else. No, but F1 is just like, it's a solid summer blockbuster and nothing more than that. And I don't know. I think I looked at every movie on this list far more than it. So,
final question, because we've been going so long, and I definitely want to wrap up. Sorry, Brian, and I appreciate it so much that you've been here speaking to me for this long.
Oh, I love talking Oscars. So,
is there anything that you think should have been nominated for Best Picture that came out in 2025?
Ooh, so whenever I'm asked this question, I always have to sub out other movies so that
like you can sub out F1.
Yeah, so sub out F1. I would toss in It Was Just an Accident. That movie is really, really a lot more funny than I think it's going to be for a movie about some people trying to for the premise. Yeah, I'd throw out I like Begonia being in there because I think it's a weird enough movie that I always like when movies like that pop or show up in there. The Testament of Anne Lee with Amanda Seyfried is a movie that I think should have gotten a lot more acclaim than it did. That movie is gorgeous. She's incredible in it. It's audacious. It's interesting. But I think I think I would pretty much just lean on just saying cut out F1. It Was Just an Accident. I'd be far happier with this list.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think F1 should be nominated for Best Picture. I'm fine. Technical awards all day long, fine.
Yeah, it made a lot of money.
Well-made film.
It made a lot of money, so they should be happy enough with that. So,
yeah. But otherwise, I think it's from what I've seen in it, I have a few gaps, but it's a good list and a good year.
Yeah, it's a great year.
Brian, I think we need to end it there. Thank you so much for spending this evening, my time chatting to me about films. I've really loved talking to you about it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I'd love to have you back on to pick a film from my backlog.
Absolutely.
Which is funny because the amount of gaps I have and the amount of films you have to fill the gaps, you could probably pick about 5 or 6 just for one episode. So I hope to see you, have you back on if you are willing.
Absolutely.
And this doesn't put you off.
Yeah. I go along with my show too, so this is not a surprise for me. So
And also incredibly knowledgeable about films, which I already knew from. I've listened to several episodes of the Moviepod, but I tend to pick and choose when it's a film I know more about. So I'm not like, I don't listen every week, which I'm sure people would do with my podcast as well. One thing I will say is that, so Brian hosts the Moviepod. Is there anything else that you want to plug in terms of what you get up to, Brian?
So you can also, I host Moviepod, Reflex on a podcast where I talk about films with the change reception, how reception has changed over time. So, what do I have coming out next for that one? I have an episode of Sucker Punch that's been recorded. It comes out on Tuesday. Then I'm taking a break. Then I'm doing the 1990s Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and
I've not seen that. I kind of feel like I need to, though.
It's weird because it has nothing to do with Mario. But I also do some writing over at some comedy writing over at Hard Times, as well as the Hollywood Times. I also follow me on Letterboxd. My Letterboxd is just B Wishart. I write a lot of stuff over there too. Also follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at B Wishart as well on those. And just say hi to me on social media.
And download the latest episode of Moviepod to see what Brian's secret #1 movie of the year that wasn't nominated for an Oscar is.
Yep.
That's the tease.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
Okay, right. We'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching/listening. And thanks again to Brian for joining. The Oscars is this Sunday. I'm going to try and get this out tonight if I can. Just so that there's a bit of time. And if I launch this on my normal day of Monday, it would be
a little bit too late.
Thanks again. We'll leave it there. Bye.